There we go. Okay.
That was spooky.
Be aware it is coming through Griffin's mic, but yeah, so you can mute it in Discord.
Yeah, I found out that's the only way for me to do it since you guys can get video feed. It sucks, but unless Paul can give me some enlightenment.
Every setup is different, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I'm doing a dual system, and in order for me to show video on the second computer, I have to run my audio has to go through for some reason. I don't know why. It's weird.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't do video on the second computer. I only do video on the primary computer. So the streaming computer. That's why.
That's what I mean. It's on the streaming computer. Like I'm running Discord in the streaming software on the second computer.
That's why. Yeah, I run streaming and Discord on my streaming computer together.
Right.
And then all the video game stuff comes in from
same. Yeah, same. But that's what I'm saying. Like I'm talking about the video that's running that you guys are looking at.
You know, you'd have to isolate the audio source from the video specifically.
So I can mute I get it now. I can mute the audio in there and you wouldn't hear it.
You should be able to through OBS. You'd be able to monitor it, but it wouldn't come through OBS.
All right. I'll figure it out.
This is Rowena Dooley asking Soul Citizens to report for
All right, gang. Here we go. Let's see. Good morning, good morning, good morning. That's what a way to kick it off. Someone rated us with a party of two. I can't see who it is.
Thanks to the AstroPub for the raid.
Oh, is that real? Oh, God, that's so funny. You get the award. That was good. I love it. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Citizens. I'm Griffin Gaming RPG. We're back. Today is Sunday, October 1st. We're in the last quarter of the year, and we're here with a wonderful group of people who must love me because they got up early in the morning, because I got to love myself to get up this early in the morning to start streaming. But this is going to be our first 12-hour live stream that we are doing for St. Jude Children's Hospital. But I want to introduce our guest first, and I'm going to elaborate about that in just a moment. I'm going to start with our guest first. At the very top, who's holding down the place, he's towering above us, the one and the only StimCitizen from Yacht Club. How are you, Stim?
Doing well, Griffin. Good idea. Good to see all the cast. How you guys doing?
We're good. Tell people about you and Yacht Club, because this is a different audience at 9 a.m. You're a nighttime guy, so why don't you tell people about who you are and what you do for the community?
Fair. So Yacht Club is what we consider sort of the bar citizen for Star Citizen. So not only do we curate the bar citizen, the global sort of bar citizen group, we also host a show every Wednesday, which we sort of consider your weekly bar citizen, your virtual bar citizen, not to be confused with the Soul Citizens virtual bar citizen that we co-host with Soul Citizens. That's put on every probably every quarter or so.
Yeah, everyone we feel like it.
Yeah, that's more accurate.
So it's really it's a news show. We go through all the latest content. We talk about the community a lot. We go through images in Discord. We talk about different projects. We grab things from Reddit. We talk about everything that's exciting, that's new, that's going on in Star Citizen, and we introduce a lot of new content creators, and we talk. We just really hang out and share the passion everybody has for this project. Talk to different community members, have guests on all the time. we quite often run a 7-person show, which is a really big show, and one of the only other groups that I know that does that these days is Soul Citizens. So it's a pretty fun time. Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, if you're interested, and we'll see you there.
Absolutely. Did any of you guys hear Stim say that they present a lot of nude content creators? Because I couldn't tell. Is that what you heard, Paul?
Now suddenly I'm interested.
I'm there.
You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention, Stim.
Okay, I thought it was just me. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. But no, he does. They do. And again, Stim, thank you, because you guys at Yacht Club have been just always supportive of us, and you guys have had many of the other Soul Citizens members on you guys' show and given them exposure and a voice in the community. And you guys are the weekly show. You guys are the OGs, I think, now of the weekly, sit around and let's talk about Star Citizen thing on Wednesday nights. I think Relay would be the only people that might be giving you some competition, but those guys are like the OGs that have been sitting around talking about Star Citizen. But thanks for being here today. We really appreciate that.
Pleasure.
Next to that, speaking of giving community content creators exposure, we have the one, the only, the illustrious Batman Shelley himself over here, Paul Shelley, the AstroPub. How are you, buddy?
I'm better. I've been sick for the last couple of days, and my body decided I was no longer sick at 4:00 in this morning. I was like, I feel great. I can't go back to sleep now. So I still have some residual like nose stuff from the night, but over the course of the day, my voice will go back to being normal voice instead of sexy deep voice Paul Shelley.
Yeah.
So
well, we appreciate you getting in bed so you'd have some energy for today. Because I did. We got to tune in yesterday because I knew you guys did do your stream earlier in the day, and it was a real interesting conversation that you guys were having, because there's a lot going on in Star Citizen right now, as you guys highlighted. We're going to touch on that a little bit on our show today too. But yeah, it was a great show. So if you guys, that show will go back up on Monday? When is that? When do you push that out on YouTube?
That should be. It's already out on YouTube.
Is that okay? All right.
Yeah.
Yes. So you guys make sure you guys find time to check out their video from yesterday. They had Angry PC Tech on, along with Fastcart, our own Fastcart. They were on yesterday talking about a lot of what's going on in the community right now. So thank you guys for being here, both Stim and Paul. This morning, we've got a couple of the one old favorite and one new favorite. I'm going to call you old with me, Fastcart. I'm not calling Nomad old. But it is funny. Last week, Nomad made his debut, his first time on this show as a part of the Soul Citizens team. And Paul and Stim both reflected on the fact that Nomad, you've been around for a long time. How long have you been in the behind the scenes supporting us through the chat areas? How long have you been involved in Star Citizen now?
Oh, wow. Well, I've been involved in Star Citizen since the beginning, since I backed in 2012.
Ooh.
But I've been watching streams and whatnot probably the past 6-7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, about 7 years now. I've been really into watching different streams and different streamers, and started streaming myself only a couple of years ago.
Are you a golden ticket holder?
I think I am. I have to look.
Uh-oh.
But I think I am.
That means you might be a challenge, because Unique is the only person in our group who goes back that far. So we may have two OGs amongst us if that's the case.
I'll have to verify that.
So Griffin, I have to ask, what OG am I? Am I just OG or just OG?
We're just OGs. We're post golden ticket. We came out right after the golden ticket, so yeah, we're younger.
Is that similar to post alpha? Because we talk about that later too.
Oh God, I'm getting to that. I heard that conversation yesterday. I was like, oh my God. Okay, but anyway. So yeah, Nomad has been around a long time, and you guys have probably seen him in chat before in both Yacht Club and AstroPub for Captain's Table. He's always there throwing in some cool thoughts about Star Citizen.
All of the questions.
Yeah,
all of the questions.
All of the questions.
What's the famous question? You always ask the same question. Is it how is everyone doing today, Nomad, or was it the what is Darj? What is the cost of Darj's drink today? I can't remember.
Darjinator. I really wish
I guess it was the Darj.
The Darj question.
Yeah.
It might be a different Nomad you're talking about, but
Could be. Okay.
There's a lot of nomads out there.
yeah, there's some Nomad.
All right, Paul, where does his name come from? Just so that you could educate folks in the audience. He's the astro historian, so he'll be able to answer this question. What does that name mean, Nomad 1701?
Oh God.
Ooh! Whoa! Well, clip that fast art. Clip it. If we get the historian, if we stumped Paul, it's early in the morning though. We got to get him to change his gears.
1701 is that a Star Trek reference?
Good. Okay, you're going on the right path. You're going on the right path. We'll give him credit for that if he got that far.
That was good.
Who in chat knows?
OG Star Trek. I know 1701.
It is.
Yeah.
Who knows what his name Nomad 1701 means? Anybody in chat know?
I already knew.
We'll give away a Polaris. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but does anybody in chat know? Wow.
So
Paul got
that
it.
does sound like a Star Trek.
Very
It's a Star
good.
Trek reference,
Very good. What
but-
about Star Trek though, guys? Yeah, Enterprise. What about it?
Well,
What
it's
about
the
it?
Enterprise? It's the Enterprise NC.
NC701 that's the serial number. But what does Nomad mean? So it's Chris Roberts' first car license plate. Scallion.
Is that the ship that was that Khan was on?
No, you're getting close. No, not the shuttle. No, Chauvin.
Was it the AI? Is that the name of the
You're
AI?
You're getting there, but
Closer.
no, not Khan Sigelian.
Is it anywhere connected to like the V'ger episode?
You're getting even closer. You're so close.
Was it the
Real hot
probe?
doc.
Yes,
Was it
Paul.
Was
yes.
it the probe for the whales?
It was
Is that
no.
right?
Oh, he went to the movies. On us.
Movies. Well, the V'ger's the movies too.
Yes, V'ger was the
movie.
movies. You guys are so close. You guys are so close. Oh, we got to turn off
I
one of those
recognize the
giveaways.
name Nomad, and if Buster was here, she'd be hitting me in the face with the reference.
she would.
She's the one who knows that.
Yeah, there were too many Star Trek probes, but yes, you guys are right about the probe aspect.
Yeah.
There was an episode on Star Trek where there was this probe called Nomad. It was about 3 meters in height. It was pretty decent size, or meter, that's like 3 meters. And this thing, will you tell him, Nomad? You give him the background of what it was. It's your name.
Well, it was a probe that was sent out by Earth, and it was presumably lost. It got hit by like an asteroid or something, and it met another alien probe called Tanru.
Like
and
rewinded
they-
or something.
Yes, and they melded together and made a new being out of itself. One was supposed to find new worlds. The other one from the alien probe was supposed to secure and sterilize soil samples from other planets. And so when they melded together, it turns out that Nomad was going to go around sterilizing imperfect life forms. And then the Enterprise picked it up. And so any biological life form, it was programmed to sterilize and eliminate it eventually, apparently.
Yeah.
And so here it is.
So kind of think about
There it is, yeah.
think about like remember in Doctor Who you had the Daleks with exterminate, they were running around doing that. Well, this thing was running around doing the same thing but on the Enterprise. There it is. He's
That's
got
about
one.
the same time too. That might have
Influenced the other. Yeah, could
in
have.
the 60s, yeah.
It could have, yeah.
So yeah, this is a little model of the Nomad probe
hmm
that I got off Etsy or something like that. And
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've never seen a model of that before. That's pretty neat.
it's the guy who makes it kind of makes him kind of one-on-one.
Yeah, a little custom thing he does.
do it
That's
at
very
first,
cool.
yeah. And there's actually a light inside.
Oh,
and then
really?
you can
Oh, he
put it
he
in,
went
so
all out.
It actually lights up, and then you put it in, and then there's different color filters that actually have the different colors.
Oh, wow. I got to
Yeah.
get one of those. That's pretty neat.
The nuts part about this is that would have cost you, like, that model right there is probably similar to the model they actually built for the show, and it probably cost them like $7,000 to make, and now it's like some LEDs and 50 cents of
I know.
plastic, to throw together. Technology.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
Gotta love
funny.
technology.
So
That's
the name of
funny.
the episode, one final thing, the name of the episode is called The Changeling. So
Oh, yes, the famous one.
Oh,
I remember
now
that
you
good
remember
name.
where it killed Scotty and it erased Uhura's brain, remember?
Mhm.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, there's like 5 iconic episodes from the original series, and Changeling is one of them. Edge of
City on the Edge of Forever.
City on the Edge of Forever, and then there's Balance of Terror,
Balance of Terror.
and then there's 2 more that I'm just
Doomsday
blanking on.
Machine.
Space
The
Doomsday
Doomsday
Machine.
Machine is classic.
Yeah,
That's
and then there was the one that was where like the one that Futurama reminded me of when Spock got high and smacked Kirk around. The one where the famous interracial kiss.
Yeah.
Yes.
Plato's Stepchildren.
Plato's
Yeah, that's
Stepchildren,
it.
yeah.
Plato's Spectrum. Yeah, of course
Yeah.
you would know. Now, I gotta be careful every time on Thursday whenever I do Trek trivia, because no matter will get it automatically.
I'm on it. That's one of the few things I can actually slightly brag about. So I am on it.
Well, I appreciate it because we've got a lot of Star Trek nerds here, or Star Wars nerds. So we need to have some Star Trek stuff to offset it. So that's perfect with me. I'm a Star Trek person, though, man. I go back to the original series all the way through. So I'm with you. All right.
Awesome.
Listen, we've got so much stuff. Let me finish introducing. We talked about Nomad. Fastcart FC, good to see you. Up bright and early. Fastcart wasn't going to be here this morning. He was going to kind of pick up things a little later, but he had a lot of energy from hanging out with Paul yesterday. And next thing you know, he sends me a message this morning. And he says, I'll see you in 15 minutes. I'm like, you're not supposed to be here till later. He's like, I'll see you in 5 minutes. So I'm like, oh, now you're going to push me to get up early. But anyway, introduce yourself, Fastcart.
Hello, I'm Fastcart FC, a member of the Soul team, Soul Citizen. I normally do a podcast for Soul Citizen called Soul Talk on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC. And, we talk about what's going on this week in Star Citizen. But what's important is you get to come in and talk with us during this time on Discord. So it's always a fun time to hang out. So if we're available on Thursday evening, when you want to talk about Star Citizen, come check us out.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, we are going to kick things off here. We've got these 2 lovely gentlemen with us for the next couple of hours, and we're going to tap their brains. I want to put a little bit of background behind this conversation a little bit. I want you guys to know the status of a couple people that are on this screen. One of them is StimCitizen and one is Fastcart. Both Stim and Fastcart have taken the holy vow of keeping distance from Star Citizen because they want the full impact of the game when it comes out. So we're not going to belabor them with heavy questions about things that are currently in the game, though they will have opinions. But I don't want you all to think that they're dodging or that maybe they're not knowledgeable. That's not the case, all right? Because we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff that is in game, and they may pass and say, well, I haven't done that yet. So just understand that they have a method to their madness. These are the 0 to hero guys on the screen, okay? They're holding out. I don't know how they do it personally, but they're holding out to play the game when it gets released. So let's jump right into it. This past week, we received update 3.20.
Griffin, I'm going to interrupt real quick.
Yeah.
We should say why we're doing this. We're doing it for the
Thank
fundraiser.
you. You know what? I'm treating this like a regular show. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
You know what? Why don't we do this? Let's talk about it. Should I talk about it or show it? Which one should we do first?
Oh, we already got $10, but yeah, show it.
Let me show it first and talk about it? Or talk about it then show it?
Show it first, because
Show
we
it
only
first?
got $10. But
All
yeah.
right, here we go.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and YouTube are teaming up to help end childhood cancer.
In September, supporters from across the nation come together during Childhood Cancer Awareness Month to raise money for the kids of St. Jude.
And that's when YouTube gamers will be posting videos and live streaming to raise funds to support the life-saving mission of St. Jude.
At St. Jude, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Money raised also supports the research that leads to groundbreaking medical discoveries that St. Jude freely shares around the globe.
I can only imagine as a parent the relief that they feel when someone like St. Jude steps in.
I think it's a really good lesson for us to realize that we need to do more, and we can do more.
It is a huge step in the right direction, a huge step in helping just people and giving back.
It's all for good, and we have a responsibility, a social responsibility to help out.
Find your favorite video or live stream during St. Jude Play Live on YouTube for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month and donate to this amazing cause.
Your support will help St. Jude further its incredible mission.
Finding cures, saving children.
Let's end childhood cancer together.
And that's why I have Fast Cart to remind me to do things like that at 9 in the morning. I appreciate that.
Hey, I didn't want to stub your toes. I was worried.
Nope, you did the right thing. I always tell them, cut me off if I'm going down the wrong track. So that's good. We want to give a shout out to Stunner, Empty Stunner. Stunner, thank you so much for kicking us off with the $10 today. We are raising money for St. Jude Children's Hospital. You guys know, some of you know that we've been doing this at the beginning of June, with the goal of reaching $10,000 by October 22nd, CitizenCon weekend. And one of our milestones was that once we got to $3,000, we would schedule our very first 12-hour live stream, which is why we are here, which is why you are here. We truly, truly appreciate that. We are now at $3,260. We are only $240 away from our first giveaway tier, where we will be giving away, what is it we're giving away, Fast Cart? I can't even remember what it is.
We're giving away a Sons of Toys pack. That's the Tumble 3-pack, Tumble Ranger 3-pack.
For you motorheads out there, you motorcycle fans out there, we're going to be giving away the Centauri pack when we get to $3,500, and we're at $3,260 now. So only $240 away. You can make that happen within this hour without any problem. It'll be an open giveaway to everybody who's here. We want to encourage you to tell people what we're doing. Pass the link on. Say, hey, there's some folks raising some money for St. Jude. They can tune in. Even if they're not in the Star Citizen, everybody knows about St. Jude. At least mostly everybody knows about St. Jude. So hopefully you guys will be able to pass that information on and help us with that. So Gillian, I see you out there, buddy. Good to see you this morning. I'm up bright. You're really up bright and early because you're in a different time zone. But thanks for being here, buddy.
I think STEM is too, I believe.
Oh, we know STEM is. Oh yeah, we know STEM is. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that's the piece on St. Jude. I think we're good to go now, right, Fast Cart? Are we doing okay?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. Okay, so we're going to talk about update 3.20. As you guys know, there was a promo that CIG put out for it with different categories. We're just going to cover some of those right now and get people's feedback on them. One of the big ones is Arena Commander. Paul, I'm going to go to you first, and maybe you could talk a little bit about the history of Arena Commander, because a lot of folks, sometimes we'll talk about stuff with Star Citizen like everybody's been around forever, but there are some people who might have come in within the last 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, or even 5 years and don't really know what we went through to get Arena Commander and why Arena Commander is evolving, because some people think it's just because nobody was playing it. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, I could talk about the very beginning.
Sure.
For those of you who are old, like most of us on the screen, this is not old. I'm not saying about an age. There are people who've been following Star Citizen since they're like in their 18 and then the mid 20s. You're old too. We are all old. It was 10 years ago. Us old crows know that like the original name of Arena Commander was the Dogfight module.
Mm-hmm.
And it was back in the day when CIG was starting to do modular release. So the original idea was they were going to release the hangars as a concept to kind of like show people their ships, but also as the way to build like something in the game, practice with the tools that they had and get more people in so they could kind of play with identity and ideas and in a small confined space. And then after that, they were going to make the dogfight module where they can test out they can play with ships and ship designs and weapons and the whole like combat aspect and flight aspect of the game. That was supposed to be called the dogfight module. So the dogfight module evolved into, or before it released, they got rebranded as Arena Commander, an in-game fictional, a fictional video game inside Star Citizen. So it's like a video game inside the game of Star Citizen. So like people would refer to Arena Commander like we refer to Star Citizen, as like a video game. Yeah. And that originally only had a handful of ships. It had the Aurora, the 300, the Hornet, and I think the Avenger was added at like the 1.0 level, and then the Mustang. I think those were the 5 main ships that happened very early on. And it was designed to test the flight mechanics. So it was the only thing we played for a long time, and there was only a handful of modes that was there. Over time, it evolved, but the problem was that the PU came out, and when the PU came out, Arena Commander didn't have it. In fact, I would argue that Arena Commander didn't have a drop off in players when the PU came out. It just a lot of people didn't play it anymore, but a lot of people who were still into the combat stuff still used it because it was a more reasonable place. It's a place you could go to get combat all the time. And so it's evolved over time from being just this testing platform to being a way that you could practice and play and train in an environment that wasn't as harsh as Star Citizen was planning to be. The problem was that it wasn't updated. So the PU would be updated, and Arena Commander was not getting updated. So the flight modes in Arena Commander would get updated because the ships got updated, but the actual like technology and like the maps, none of those got updated. So instead of putting money and time towards Arena Commander, they decided, we'll hire a company to do this for us. A company that does a lot of these sorts of add-on works. I can't remember the name of the company, but they were purchased. I think it was Firesprite.
Firesprite, yep.
And they were brought on to kind of update Arena Commander, Star Marine, which is similar to Arena Commander. It was originally called the FPS module and then became Star Marine. Hey.
Wow. Thank you, Reload. We appreciate that. The 5 gift subs. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. And thank you, STEM, and thank you for others who are the Tobin and MT Stumner for giving money to the fundraiser. So, yeah, thank you for that.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Nice job, you guys.
Thank you.
3290. Go ahead, Paul.
Anyways, continue on to the long story. Basically, Arena Commander and Star Marine had suffered from the same problem. There were updates to the game, but they didn't really update the Star Marine or Arena Commander specifically because they're completely different like game sets. And so they hired Firesprite to do that, and then Firesprite got purchased by Sony. So the team that was over at Firesprite, which was like 3 to 4 people, they all were no longer able to work on Arena Commander. But what we found out recently was that at least one, if not all of those team members, just got hired by CIG. Because DJ, who's the head of the team, who you see him he worked for Firesprite, and then when Firesprite got purchased, the CIG was like, just come work with us. Just come work with us. You can keep doing what you're doing and come work for us. That was back in February of last year. And so this has been a process that the DJ and his team has been working on. Because they also have other people from like old school CIG developers like Sean Tracy and I can't remember the other folks, but when I remember seeing them in the original Arena Commander like update video they did, I was like, wow, I recognize those names and those faces from like 2013, like very old school like developers, and they've been working on this for a while, and effectively what 2.0 or 2.0. Like Arena Commander 2.0 is what they call it, but like the 3.20 release is them taking all of the stuff that's been worked on the PU and bringing it into Arena Commander. So Arena Commander can now fulfill its goal as being a single one-stop shop for practice and training, but also to test out new ideas that they want to do in a smaller environment. So it's now built exactly like the PU, which took them rebuilding a lot of maps and rebuilding a lot of structure and overhauling the UI and doing all the stuff that they had to do to bring it up to parity. Especially the UI stuff was the stuff that took them a long time. Because as far as I understand, CIG has like four UI people, and they're constantly being dragged every which way to try to build new UI for a game the size of Star Citizen. So that's this is only part 1 of 3. Right. There are 3 major parts that they want to do for Arena Commander 2.0, and this is just the first step.
Right.
So,
Stim, were you around? You were around back when we had just the hangar modules, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. You remember when we had the Arena Commander? How we used to have to do it? Do you remember how we used to load in? It's way back now.
And I want them to bring that back.
Well, tell everybody. Tell everybody what we did.
So what you're able to do now, just to be clear for everybody, I missed the multiple hangar setup.
So
I came along just after the really large, like for every ship you had a hangar module that was all interconnected. And of course, you were motivated to get a Grey Cat PTV so you could go drive around and visit all of yours.
Right.
But they had this module, this like virtual reality pod that you would jump into, and that would load up Arena Commander. And it was so novel to be able to go from getting into the game to then going into this, what was originally intended to be this virtual training ground. And I sure hope they bring that back, because I think that's something that would be really great to have.
Yeah. We've talked about this a little while back. We did a show on, the progression of things. And one of the things I always talk about, I think Paul Fastcart quoted me yesterday saying this, but I always talk about the game we have now is not the game that we will have in the end. And there was method to the madness, Stem, back to that point where we had that module. When we did our show on Microtech a few weeks ago, we talked about when you go down to I call it the Apple Store. But what's it called? The
front line.
No, not front line. The
factory line.
Factory line. When you go down in the basement of the factory line, those pods that Stim is talking about are down there. And the idea, as you mentioned, Paul, is that there's going to be a marriaging of a game inside of a game. But I also want people to understand that it's not just a game inside of a game, but it's also a sim inside of the game. I think, Paul, you referenced this on your show yesterday. The idea is that you can go in and do practice and all the things that you want to do or challenges in game in that pod without worrying about the crime stats or having actual impact in the world. But then when you and your org are ready to go out and do the real deal, right? Now you can step out and do the real thing out there. And I don't think people have connected that, Paul. I think they kind of see them as two separate, because it's, what I mean? When we load into it on a menu screen, right? You either pick going into Arena Commander or go into the verse, and people don't know that those things are going to be ultimately married, right? In the long run. That's Chris's idea.
I do think we'll always have the Arena Commander launch screen, but you will be able to, almost certainly, you'll be able to hop into a sim pod somewhere in game, and then play Arena Commander from that sim pod. Just because it allows them for a lot of flexibility, and CIG's whole systemic approach to development so that they've kind of switched over to over the last 2 years would indicate like, hey, if we could do this, we could use the same platform for Arena Commander for any number of things that we could do in game that wouldn't have as much impact, like getting a pilot's license or doing a simulation for a mission or something like that. Like think of for those of you who are Bethesda fans, think of like the simulation mission in Fallout 3, where like one of the things you actually have to go into like a sim pod sort of thing and get into a simulation to figure stuff out, or like the Operation Anchorage missions from Fallout 3, that sort of thing. So
you know what, you just hit on something that I didn't even think about. And now it makes sense. Some of you may not know, many of you guys have heard of the Genesis Starliner. And in lore, in order to fly or do transport in a Genesis Starliner, you're supposed to be licensed by the UEE. And Paul, I've always wondered how they would do that. And I never thought about it, but the Simpod, that would be the perfect way to go. You go to the place and you do this quote unquote test in the Simpod, and you get certified to fly, which would be interesting. Because I can figure, how are they going to test you? Is somebody going to NPC going to get in your Starliner with you and fly around? But I didn't think about a Simpod. I didn't think about that.
I have a whole idea that I've pitched in the past of how the way you do a tutorial for Star Citizen is the same way that you do tutorial now, sort of, where you kind of like, you have some hints and stuff like that, but you get some sort of message that says, hey, go to the your keys are at this concierge place, or at this location where it just happens, like the admin desk, so you can go there and pick it up, and you go pick it up, and the person who gives you your keys, who gives you access to be able to get into your ship, will say, hey, by the way, it doesn't look like you've done your UEE pilot's test. Would you like to knock that out right now? And you can go yes. If you say yes, then you go through go in and you go into a sim pod, and you go through like a whole kind of like training simulation where they teach you how to fly and all this sort of things. Or you say no, because if you're an experienced player, you already know this, you can just go, okay, here you go, and you can go. But if you do the trick test, you get some sort of like bonus, some like gear or some little badge that you can hold around and be like, I'm an official licensed pilot. Those sorts of ideas. Like there's a lot you can do with the sim pod and Arena Commander beyond just Arena Commander. So
and it gives you the ability to do it partway through the game as well, because normally you see a tutorial that happens right at the beginning, but you don't see often in a game where you advance to another level, or you get access to a certain ship that all of a sudden you get this new tutorial specific to that scenario. So that's really neat.
It would be great.
It would also be funny because you could see the players who are like, I can fly in plenty of space sims, get in the ship, instantly blow up, come back. Can I do that training now? And you could have interesting dialogue popped up where it's just like, you want to know how to fly now, huh?
Yeah.
I heard the explosion from here. How's that new regen body treating you? Come on in. Like little jokes like that.
That's true. Nice. That's true. Listen, we will announce real quick. We're at $3,300. StimCitizen, thank you very much for the donation. We appreciate that. You guys are getting us there. We're making our way up to our next tier of $3,500.
Wait, Architect TV. That was the last $10. So thank you.
Architect.
Nice one.
Architect. Oh, I thought you said it was STEM. I thought you said it was STEM.
You doing before that?
A while back.
Well, I've got a delay here. I'm looking at the fundraiser page. I'm looking at Fast Card. I'm going back and forth there. I'm sorry. I'm trying to track all this stuff here, but thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
And almost kind of directed at Paul. So, Paul, you'd mentioned that you think that there's going to be both Arena Commander as well, as standalone launching, as well as being able to access in the game. And I wanted to push back on that one just a little bit, because to me, what that would mean is it would mean that time and whether it's insurance or whether it's just things that are happening would always have to happen in real time versus when you're in the game, right? Because it's while it's convenient to say, well, look, I don't want to have to hop into the verse in order to get into Arena Commander, and you want that speed to target, that user experience to be able to jump in straight away. The importance of getting into the game before you play is really significant if there are game mechanics where the ticker is going when you're only playing the game versus real time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, as far as I know, though, the insurance, last I heard, the insurance is real time.
Yeah.
So like it's like the second you buy the insurance, it starts, and it's like 3 months is 3 months. It doesn't matter if you log into Arena Commander or the game; it'll always take over. So I don't know.
And I think Star Citizen will be real time for everything as well. So I think we're on the same page. I just wonder if everything is going to end up being real time.
Well, I mean, but Arena Commander itself, and correct me if I'm wrong, Arena Commander is inconsequential to the verse.
It is, but if let's say insurance happened to not be real time, because I can't think of a mechanic that wouldn't be real time, but often that happens in games. So let's say for 1 second, just in our imaginary little world here, that the insurance only counted for when you were logged into the game. If you could go and play Arena Commander without logging into the PTU, or the PU rather, then you would be able to avoid the ticking of your insurance.
I'm saying insurance has no impact in Arena Commander.
Yeah, in Arena Commander.
There is no insurance in Arena Commander. Arena Commander is totally a sim.
Yeah, but let's say it's like EVE
am I missing
Online,
something?
where EVE Online, you were training based upon real time, right? So, let's say the EVE Online training was when you're only in the games. Your number of game hours was when you were training up your skills. So anything that it could be, like, let's say it's, I don't know, what could we think of, guys, where it's your time in the game where you actually get experience. So maybe there's a countdown timer on some kind of buff that you took, like you took a stim, that gives you 24 hours of +1 to your
training.
But you have to be logged into the game to get that benefit,
right?
And all of a sudden you go into the game just to play Arena Commander, where you're kind of burning that stim and you're wasting the value of that coffee or whatever it was that you drank, because you're now just playing Arena Commander, and maybe you don't get the benefit in the Arena Commander, what have you. So
I get what you're saying, but
it kind of locks in the whole time, like everything has to be real time.
Well, are you saying Arena Commander is impacted by those things? Because I don't think Arena Commander is.
No, I'm not saying Arena Commander is. I'm saying Arena Commander would dilute the value of whatever you had that was ticking based upon being in the game. So let's say
I mean, what am I earning in Arena Commander? What am I gaining in Arena Commander other than game experience, training,
nothing.
Entertainment?
So let's say you dropped off some cargo, okay?
In what, live or Arena Commander?
In the PU, you started refining materials.
Okay,
and the materials are going to take 10 hours of in-game time.
Gotcha.
Okay, so it's linked to just you being logged into the game. That's the way they've done it, as opposed to, you put it to refine, you log off, you go do life, you come back 10 hours later, and then your materials are ready. If you then, had to, but you wanted to go play Arena Commander, would that time count when you're playing Arena Commander? It wouldn't if you logged in through a separate screen, but it would if you had to go into the PU first before you got into the pod to access.
I see what he's saying.
Right. And so that it doesn't affect Arena Commander. Arena Commander is still inconsequential as far as, dying, all that kind of stuff. But that refining time is ticking down because you came in through the game versus going in through
okay, I see what you're saying now. You're talking about logging in in the game versus logging in via menu.
It's almost like he's saying, like, okay, you set your thing to refine. You could either go and do the Sims, or you can go hang out at the bar. Either way, you're still in game.
I'm saying that if you let's use this scenario, if you're refining, that timer's running, that's running in real time. It has nothing to do with whether I'm at home sleeping in bed or whether I go into Arena Commander. Going into Arena Commander is no different if I said, I'm gonna go to the refinery and I'm gonna go down the street and go play at the arcade for the next 3 hours. That clock is still running. It does not stop. That's why I said Arena Commander is inconsequential to the real world. Even if I'm playing it in the game, that time is passing. What's going on in the Arena Commander world is non-impacting the live world.
But if you log out of the game, does the clock still run?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, it does.
Yes.
For the refinery,
Yes.
It's real time.
Yeah, it keeps running. Yeah, it's
that's the thing, is that CIG has moved so many things over to real time. Refining. I don't think they're going to move that to like in-game time or anything. I think the reality is that insurance is going to be real time.
Yeah.
So 6 months is 6 months, and it won't matter if you're playing Star Citizen screen, because the other thing to note is that Arena Commander is the multiplayer for Squadron 42. You have Squadron 42 and only Squadron 42, and I know this is going to sound absolutely insane to people, because a lot of people don't realize this, is that there will be people who purchase Squadron 42 who have no idea that Star Citizen exists. They will have access to Arena Commander.
Yep.
They won't have access to Star Citizen. So they'll have to have some way of getting Arena Commander while they're not playing the single player game. And so there'll have to be a little option there as well. So.
You know what else sounds crazy? Even more people play Star Citizen who didn't know that there was a Squadron 42. We've had people who have said, what is Squadron 42? And they're like, oh my God. So, and that's because what you hear everybody talk about, media and everybody else is always labeled Star Citizen. Why is Star Citizen delayed? What's taking so long for Star Citizen to come out? You don't hear that, well, other than people within the community who talk about Squadron. But Stim, I like your point too about insurance, because a lot of people don't know, Paul just mentioned it too, that even if you have that insurance, it will expire. So don't think because you got 5 years of experience, like you said, it's not game time. So insurance is built into the game as a game mechanic. There is going to be a point, y'all, where we're going to be buying insurance and insuring our stuff again, even unless you got LTI, but you're going to be buying insurance. Even then, you'll still be buying additional insurance to cover other things and stuff,
It only covers your basics.
Right.
So if you want to upgrade those internal components, or get another mining head, or getting new weapons, anything like that, it's going to be a separate insurance. So CIG is going to load us up with lots of insurance options for the game, because they want to throw as many money sinks into the game as possible to control inflation.
Yeah. And we need that, because that's one of the things I worry about with the economy. What was when you get all the billionaires, when 80% of the people in the game are billionaires, like an elite. There needs to be those reasons for why we always have to continue to spend money. Some of you, I don't even know if people pay attention to this. Let me go to FC and Nomad on this. A lot of times when people, and I guess some of this comes from the gaming industry and the way games are made, there's a dynamic of doing, setting up scenarios and areas with props and to make the places look lived in and occupied, right? But we've gotten used to those things being just cosmetic and not actually functional. And Paul and Stim raised this thing about insurance, but there are insurance offices in the game. There are actual locations that you're going to go to. Do you think that the players are paying attention to that when they're running past the insurance place?
No, no, because they're trying to auto run and run everywhere, not paying attention, not looking at the signs, not looking at their numbers. They're just trying to get to where they're going, and not till they need something at a certain place to look around most of the time.
Yeah,
most of the time. Yep, I agree.
Yeah, and I mean,
absolutely
we don't use them right now, but it's like the ATMs. I know they just recently started talking about that. I mean, these things are not, and I mean, don't get me wrong, CIG is not going to make everything operational, but we do know that Chris's attitude is, and we had a virtual, remember, I think, Stim, I don't know if you were here, you might have been gone. Were you there the night when Brian Chambers dropped in? I think you might have been there that morning.
No, I wasn't. No,
he wasn't there for that one.
He came in that night, and someone raised the question about, if I'm remembering correctly, and this is going to sound really, Paul, you'll like this. They had put out this video in Pyro of these 4 people walking, and somebody was dual wielding. And somebody said, is that just artwork and marketing, or is that something you're going to do? And Brian, I'm going to try my best to quote him as best I can. He said,
paraphrasing as best as possible.
I'm paraphrasing. He said, for the most part, if you see it, it's something that we're thinking about doing or going to try to do, something along those lines. And so a lot of times he was saying, when there are things in that world that we see, if we see certain stations, or like you may see the Chairman's Club, there's a reason why that Chairman's Club is there with, a door and hand railings and all that other stuff. They want those things to actually have something, in the world that we're going to be able to use as a feature. So I just wonder whether or not players, when they're running past the insurance kiosk, or when they're running past the health spa, or they're running past Oza, the fine dining restaurant, whether they think that's just decorative, or they don't really know that, no, these are things that they really do want to implement. Hence why so much of this is taking a lot of time to do, Anybody got any thoughts on that? We'll move on to the next one otherwise, because we get off Arena Commander. Okay, let's talk about the Fury LX. Let me go to Stim on this, because Stim, you guys, one of the things we're jealous of is that you guys have got these really cool Yacht Club racing jerseys, which are really cool. But I don't know, have you had a chance to, I know you know about the Furies, but I know you know about this new one that's been introduced, because a lot of people saw the first 2 Furies, the base Fury and the Fury MX, as being very fast and maneuverable ships. But then CIG goes and says, oh, we're going to put out an LX version. Now, me being the snob that I am, I was hoping it was a luxury racer, but no, it's just a racer. But have you had a chance to look at the LX at all?
Yeah, I've taken a look at it. I can probably relay one of the community members' thoughts that we've had from the show, Smithy Joe Bob. So we've had him up on the show, and he hosts every Thursday night. He hosts track nights every Thursday. And it's a really great event, and he helps teach people. But the point of saying that is kind of lift him up in what he's doing in helping people learn how to race.
Mhm.
He has a lot of people on that do a ton of racing, and so his big opinion and feelings on what the Fury was all about before the LX came out was it was a really fast ship, but it drifted a lot,
Mhm.
and so it was kind of sluggish around the corners, and it was not an ideal racing ship. And now with the LX, it's a lot tighter. And I think, I could be wrong, but I believe they rebalanced all of the Furies a little bit when the LX came out. But the LX is a lot tighter in the turns. I believe it's faster as well, although others may be able to
I
comment
think
on
it's
that.
faster.
But I hear it's a great racer. The prevailing racer, as I understand it, that people are really kind of going to, if they're not going to something like an Archimedes or a Merlin, is the Misk Razor at the moment.
Okay. Paul, what about?
Go ahead. I picked up one of the missile modules for the Fury. So I think it's a great in-game Star Wars version of the TIE Fighter that everybody needs to get. The only drawback to it, really, from kind of that entry-level ship, something that people want to get.
Oh wow!
Lots of
How many is
subs.
that?
Wow,
Tucky,
nicely done.
wow, thank you
That was
so
10.
much.
Okay, 10 from Anonymous. Thank
Oh
you.
my goodness, Anonymous hit us again. Anonymous is back. Thank you, Anonymous. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for that.
But we do want to specify, we appreciate the stud, but we
Yes.
would much rather you give to St. Jude, especially during the 12-hour live stream. But we do appreciate the stud, so thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we are at $3,300 still. So we're only $200 away from our next milestone where we do give away a Sons of Century pack. If you're into the motorcycles, you want to be around for that. So thank you guys for giving thus far. We appreciate it. We got to hear James Brown all this time, Stim. So just kind of...
Just talk about it. Just talk about it.
I was going to say, the only thing is... now I've forgotten what it was.
I'm sorry. Well, you were talking about the Razor. Yeah, you were talking about
luxury TIE Fighter in the verse.
In the Razor. Yeah.
The fact that it doesn't do quantum, right? It's
yeah.
a snub, right?
Yeah.
So, but it might be OP and punch too far above its weight class if it did.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, you compare it to TIE Fighters. TIE Fighters are the same way. They're limited. They got to stay near their mothership. They can only go so far out in range.
Hyperdrive.
Yep, that's it. That's what they got to do. But it makes sense.
For the pocket fighter, for the
must have
pocket
gotten
carrier.
lost, been bitten part of a convoy or something.
Yeah, there you go. Oh God, boy, oh boy, he's gonna start the quotes. There we go. Yeah, very cool. Nomad, what about you? Have you flown the Fury? Interested in the Fury? Racing's not your thing. What's the deal?
Racing is not my thing.
Okay.
I've watched enough guys do low level flying, like what's his name, Dark Knight. Who just does this amazing low level fast flying. But I'm more of a chill, relaxed kind of guy.
Okay.
I want to get a job with like UPS and FedEx in game and deliver packages and just
Gotcha.
just be chill.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You might have meant Dark Lord. Dark Knight is
that's Dark Lord. Dark Law. That's it. That's what Dark Law.
So many darks.
Yeah, there's a lot of darks and lots of nomads. But Dark Law. And so, but it's fascinating watching these guys do that. So those guys are going to be fantastic in racing. But yeah, the XL, it is the TIE Fighter of the Star Citizen universe. But I'm just like, I'm just happy with my MSR, as you can see behind me.
Yep.
And I just want to float around and just do that. But it's an amazing. I'm a big Formula One fan. I'm a big racing fan, auto racing fan to begin with, and so seeing the different variants come out, one that's just dedicated to racing, is fascinating.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm hoping to do. So they get all these type of dedicated racers that you can tweak. And you have your pit crew to do changes, like you put a different set of tires on a car, you put a different set of like hover, like different hover mechanic or a different thing in there in order to get the thing to turn a little bit tighter in the Star Citizen universe. I think that's going to be an awesome thing if they do decide to go that deep and that granular in racing. That would be fantastic. That would be fun to watch. I don't do it myself, but it's fun to watch.
Okay. FC, I know racing's something that you've always been interested in and talked about. What's your thoughts about this LX?
I already have the Razor LX, so I might, and I have so many tokens already, but LTI tokens. So I might get a couple of LX just to have around. But yes, I haven't. I tried to hump into Arena Commander on Friday before Paul's show, so I would have something to talk about. But my joystick, my trusty Thrustmaster 16,000M, I got it in 2014, and it's pretty much bit to dust.
You gave him the ghost, huh?
I'm going to try to get a BKB premium left-handed one and after CitizenCon.
Okay.
So I haven't had a chance to try the LX. But I do have a question. I'm not sure if Paul went, but my question is, you think the full LX will get nerfed? Like, you think it'll get a speed reduction? Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead. Why?
Why? Because every new ship that CIG ever releases gets nerfed.
Not new, not everyone. Most of them, though.
All of them do. It's just a matter of when, not if. Yeah.
Well, I know there's a lot of conversation about nerfing and stuff, but my feeling is we understand the marketing dynamics to this. But there's also the side that there's so much in this game that's not balanced. And we try to tell people, if you get something, get it because you want it. You got to avoid the hype. But there's so much that's just not in the game. I mean, there's no ship that's balanced in the game. There are no weapons. Everything's just kind of out there to get us to test and play. So, hopefully we can trust the specs, and that's about all you can go by, is that's ultimately what the ships are going to be. But even those can change. So if you're into mining, if you like getting mining ships, just go for the mining ships and go by what you get. That's it, guys. I wish we could be more accurate from a consumer point. You do your due diligence, and you do want to make sure that you're putting your money where it needs to go. But again, this is one of the reasons why we tell people to, if you're backing the game, back the game for the development. And, the ships are just the icing, right? They're like that little premium that you get because you enjoy what somebody's doing. Sometimes we get so hung up on things changing. I remember the whole Ares thing was just so frustrating for me, because I understood why people were frustrated, but it was like, guys, nothing's balanced. I know it feels good to have a big size 7.
They improved the Ares recently. I don't know if you heard about that.
They did what?
Yeah. They improved
the Ares.
Yeah, they improved it. Yep, and that's my point. I mean, we've seen that happen where the dial just swings, So it's like, I don't like it anymore. I'm melting it. I'm getting rid of it. And I tell people, hold on to it and just wait. Just wait. Just wait and see. If you want to melt it, that's fine. You can buy it back later if you want to. But everything changes. Mm-hmm.
To go off of what you said earlier, Griffin, this is not the game that you're not playing the final game. You're playing a game that's going to change dramatically. And when they get to the point where they're going to start talking about balance and components and subcomponents and power usage, like so many things, armor, all of these different things which will be added to the game, that's going to cause a lot of the stuff that's really, really good now to not be good in the future. Like, I know CIG desperately does not want to have light fighters be able to be the ultimate meta of all time. So as a result, they'll try to keep them to be good, but they're going to try to balance it out with the other usages of other ships. And they're going to mess up a lot until they get the right balance. But so basically get a ship if you think it's cool. Like, it's a rule of cool. If you think it's cool and you like the idea, get it. But don't get buy a ship because it's like, oh well, it's really good in the game right now. It's got all this great. It's like, no. Buy it in game.
Hey, you set yourself up for heartbreak.
Yeah.
I'd have to say it has to resonate with what you want to play, what kind of gameplay you really want. And then getting back to the whole concept of like the balancing side of it, when you have a game that's this evolved, if you've ever seen, if you've played any other MMOs that are just so involved, it comes down to that 1%, 2%, 3% difference. And each iteration in leveling or gear that you get, etc. It's a tiny change, step change that makes it an advantage. And if you're trying to get rid of the meta, like CIG is trying to do, they're really going to shave that down to those smaller avenues. So, I think that balancing is a long way to go. Don't buy anything, just like Paul's saying, based upon what it is right now and as it comes out. And you can see in chat people saying how the methodology from CIG is post it live when it first comes out as completely OP. Then nerf it about 2 months later once it goes to free in the game. Apologize to backers, say you won't do it again, and then 2 months later, rinse and repeat.
Yes,
and I do want to say thank you to Marzipan for the $25 to the fundraiser. Appreciate it. Thank you, Marzipan. And for some reason, the last donation thing is stuck. We have to take a look at that, but later.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
But I do want to say my final thought about the Fury LX is that we have the Aurora LX, and that means deluxe I believe for the Aurora LX, and you have the Razor LX, and I believe that means luxury for that one. But I'm pretty sure for the Fury, instead of luxury, it's probably just deluxe.
Yeah. That was Radar. Radar ID actually gave $5, so thank you, Radar, and Marzipan gave $20. Thank you guys. We appreciate that.
Oh, okay.
Thank you guys so much for that. We appreciate that.
Can I?
Yeah, sure.
A quick question.
Yeah.
So, we have the Aurora LX, and we have the Fury LX, and we have the Razor LX, but the LXs don't necessarily all mean the same thing based on the manufacturer. What do we think about making the game a little bit more simple in terms of the ships that you're going for by having LX stand for the same thing, regardless, across manufacturers?
Yeah.
Is that something that we want? Because there's some confusion.
The Aurora,
but at the same.
Yeah, the Aurora is the only one that's outside of that category, and that was like beginnings. You know how stuff changes over time, right? And really, to be honest with you, the Aurora LX, the only difference in it is it had a leather seat in it, right? There wasn't really.
No, it had fine Corinthian leather.
Fine Corinthian leather. That was the luxury side of it. So I always joke about that when I call stuff luxury because of the Aurora LX. But you're absolutely right. It really needs to be that if that's what that's going to stand for, then that's what it is, because LX can mean a lot. Like most of the time we pull that reference from cars too, Fastcart was mentioning for like Honda LX is a certain deluxe version of the model. Doesn't necessarily mean racing. So you're right, Stim. The designator would be a little bit easier if they did do something like that. If they called the Aurora Touring, we could have said, okay, that's what it's for. Right. But they weren't calling stuff touring back then.
And you have Jade Star Watcher saying, "Don't ruin my immersion." And like, I get that because
my immersion.
My immersion. Yeah, don't ruin my immersion.
Each manufacturer should be able to name what they want to name them. So
yeah. But the unified, at least for codes like that, it does help. Because even with the I'm an Origin person, so going to the 300i and then the 600i, whether they call them touring, that does help. I know exactly what those ships are when they say that, so it would be kind of good if it was unified.
Yeah, and there's all of Origin ships are luxury, and there's no LXs in the
yes,
Origin.
Yes. Thank you very much for that, Paul. Appreciate that.
Oh my goodness.
I appreciate that.
Here we go.
I won't go down that road.
The opposite of LX.
The Drake LX is like what we actually. It's like a futuristic version of the XL. So it would just be the large extra. All right.
Is that what it is? Is it reverse?
It's so instead of it being luxury, it's going to be thick.
I got you, Paul. It's the Bizarre World version of luxury. That's what Drake LX is.
Listen, I would kill for a Drake luxury ship because I want to see what abomination.
I mean,
I want to see what abomination.
That'd be cool.
Cutter's going to be close to
pretty good.
If they made a Cutlass gold, and it's like the inside is like I could just see it now, cheap, like 70s swag rugs all over the place, a disco ball on the top, Someone's left their bong on the corner, you know, like there's an 8-track tape player on there, you know.
The problem with colorless gold is that when it gets wet, it'll turn green.
All right, so
exactly.
So here's the deal. Like when we watch anything on TikTok or YouTube, the funniest parts are always in the comments. So here's what our commenters are saying. Stunner says the Drake LX equals using 3-ply duct tape instead. Mobster SC says an LX would have an ejection seat. That would make it a luxury version.
That would make a luxury. You know, survival is a luxury.
Shawan says that the cutlass would be purple and has a disco ball for the LX. So yeah, tracksuits in the drink closets. So yeah, so definitely there's some great ideas here for making a luxury Drake ship. Okay, we are going to move right along. We are at $3,325. We are only $175 away from reaching our next tier. So you guys are getting us there. Thank you. You guys are doing an awesome job. Let's move on to the next one here. Big talk on this one. On a big ship, the Hull C. Fast Card, let me start with you on this one. The Hull C. Have you seen it? Have you flown it? Have you ridden in it? What do you think about it?
I was in it. I went into it for someone gave me a tour. I think you were with me when I got the tour, and when I went on into it, one of the corridors didn't have oxygen in it, so we had to make sure we wear a spacesuit. And someone who came with us, we told them, make sure you wear a spacesuit when you go into this area. They didn't, and they died. We had to go and rescue them, and we had a whole lot of shenanigans trying to revive that person. But I do love the animation. The animation is slick. I kind of, it's tough because I'm not really into freight, but I do like the idea of moving cargo around like in bulk like that.
Mm-hmm.
But so part of me is disappointed disappointed that I didn't get the Hull C when it was $200, because now it's what, $450? No, $500. It's $500. So it's like over 100% or 150% price increase on that thing. So in that aspect, I am kind of disappointed that I didn't get one, but it's not really something I really need in my fleet, in my opinion.
Okay. No, man, I'm gonna go to you next. Hull C.
You know, I've thought about it, and I think maybe I would like to kind of shift over into cargo, but I'm always afraid of that kind of thing making you just a very, very large target. It's like, oh, look at that guy. He has got lots of cargo. Let's go shoot him. But that's the kind of thing that I'm hoping for in the game. The kind of thing that chill kind of load up cargo, take it here, unload cargo, and I wanted to take time. I wanted to take the time to put all the modules on and to take all the modules off. And but I have not had the pleasure of actually flying in one quite yet. One of these days I will. But that kind of gameplay is looking more and more attractive.
Yeah.
You know,
I've found this interesting that you say that, because when the Vulture came out, one of the things I did in Eve, and I've always enjoyed, is industrial stuff. So I was always doing salvaging, I was doing mining. Those are my big areas of things. And when the Vulture came out, I had already purchased it. I had already had a reclaimer, and I'm thinking, oh, this is the industrial stuff. People are bored mining. I was amazed at how many people who never did anything on an industrial level got into a Vulture and went out and talked about how much they enjoyed doing it. And it seems like the same thing is kind of happening with the Hull C with cargo. Now, I don't know if that's because we didn't have it in there, and maybe it's the scale of it, because we've always been able to move things around. But there seems to be a lot of people who were very, very excited about the Hull C and wanted one after trying it out or riding on somebody else's. So I find it interesting that you say that maybe you weren't interested in it before, but now you're kind of taking a second look at it, you know. And yeah, it does introduce a certain level of risk, which, like you said, that's what part of the game is, right? We don't want to fly around the game that's no risk at all. But I want to merge to Paul on this, because Paul, something Nomad said there about that level of risk. For some reason, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you feel differently about this. Why do people think that that ship is going to be a target? Is that correct in the scheme of things? And I know why people say it. You know, they used to say that about the Starfarer. Ooh, if I see a Starfarer, as soon as I see it, I'm going to blow it up, you know, because we want to see an explosion, right? Same thing with the Hull C. People were like, oh, as soon as I get a Hull C, we're going to pirate that and take it. But Paul, can you talk about what are the realities of what it takes logistically when we start looking at these ships when they're fully what they're supposed to be? Is taking a Hull C going to be just like a no-brainer? I'm just going to roll up to it and snatch the boxes off of it and leave. You know, what's the reality of a Hull C in the verse?
I mean, the reality of a lot of stuff in Star Citizen is just a lot more complicated than people think. And with Hull Cs, like you often will hear, and I keep hearing this from people, pirates being like, I'm going to board the ship, I'm going to kill everyone, and I'm going to take the ship and fly away. And my only thought is, okay, how long is that going to take? And you're going to have to fill that thing up with gas at some point. Like, is this a boost situation where you're just like you ride it until it runs out of gas and then dump it somewhere? Like, is this a joyride? And who would want to joyride a Hull C? Not to mention, there's a lot of cargo. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of cargo in a Hull C. Like just what 2,000 units of cargo? Is it 2,000 SCU or is it 4,000 SCU? I always forget which one. Which is like 5 to 10 times that of the highest cargo ship, the nearest cargo ship in the game. It's absolutely insane how much cargo there is. Mm-hmm. So the idea that you would just quickly pirate a cargo ship like the Hull C is like quickly pirating a container ship in real life. Mm-hmm. Okay.
4608. So 4,608.
4,600. So it's over 4,000 SCU of cargo. You're going to move that? 4,000 crates of, you're going to have your own Hull C to move the cargo onto in order to do that. Mm-hmm. So like the logistics of it is just insanity. Like the reality is that like I do what some pirates call it is a loot pinata, and I agree that it's probably a loot pinata. Mm-hmm. But like a pinata, you don't get to choose what comes out of that thing. You're just going to grab what candy falls on the ground and you run. Mm. That's far more likely than you know, something like being able to, because you'll have to have the logistics, you'd have to have the support. There's so many aspects of the game, even now, that you'd have to do to be able to take a Hull C properly.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to pay for all those things. So
you're going to say, Stim?
And well, I was going to say, just rolling off of that, you mentioned it, Paul, when you're talking about, you know, the logistics and the support and paying for what would be the security to, you know, kind of follow and get you through. So the Hull C has 2 turrets, but they're both on the top of the ship. There's nothing on the bottom. And the belief, the prevailing belief, at least in the Yacht Club, is that they did that so that you are forced to have security, that you can't solo, or it's risky to solo or fly without a security escort using the Hull C. So I think, you know, there's certain ships from a size perspective that you can play on your own. And when we kind of get real about, you know, our lives and what we're doing, and how much time we can play. Some people can get in and play. They got kids. They can get in and play for like 2 hours after the kids go to bed, or they can only get in and play, you know, 15-minute segments here and there. If you're a 15-minute map kind of person, you're not a Star Citizen. You're not going to be able to play much Star Citizen. So are you playing 2 hours, you know, once a week in the evening, or are you playing, you know, an 8-hour raid, you know, on a weekend day? What's your segment? So if you're talking about a Hull C, the Hull C is not something you pull out in the evening. It's something you pull out, you know, when you've got 4 hours to get somewhere. 2 of those being loading and unloading it.
So. Yeah. The logistics on that is good, Stim, to talk about, because this then goes to this whole thing of we're and I know it's difficult. It's easy for us to think about it within the context of the universe we have right now, which is one system, right? And even if you have 2 systems, let's say you have Pyro, or 3 systems, Nyx, those opportunities to move that level of cargo, and I'll say a Hull C, and the Hull C, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, Hull C is the most used common trade moving, cargo moving ship in the verse. But when you start talking about a C, D, and an E, you're talking about serious logistics. Usually you're talking about carrying over a serious amount of space. Not that you can't go from Microtech to Crusader. You could if necessary. But I think when people break out ships like that, as Paul said earlier, the financial logistics of escorts, people to be on your ship, it has to be definitely crewed. There's a lot of variables there. You have to look at what's it worth to move. And there's also the difference between, am I moving my own stuff? Maybe I'm a miner and I've been, I've been stacking up stuff at the cargo decks for a while because I've been mining for 2 months. And now I want to move a bunch of stuff, some copper over that sells for 5 times what it sells in Stanton over in Nix, or whether I'm taking on, as you mentioned, Paul, somebody else's stuff, or I'm taking a mission that comes out of the TDD that says we're hiring you to move some stuff. And maybe all that you've been hired to do is move scrap. Pirates, like you said, Paul, are going to have to scan you. Is it worth it? And even if we do get on this ship, which boxes contain the stuff that's valuable, which boxes, it's not like everybody's moving 4,600 units of gold. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're going to have all types of crap on those grids, moving this stuff.
Potatoes. Yeah. It's like I joke that the most common thing that's going to be moved on a whole sea is space potatoes. That's probably the amount of stuff that's the for the amount of money it's going to cost you to put 4,000 SCU of cargo. That cargo is going to be cheap. Yeah. It's going to be garbage. To fully load that thing up.
Potatoes.
Water. You'll just have 4,000
units of water.
And smart travelers or smart cargo haulers will do the Lord of War thing, where at the very bottom of every stack is the important stuff.
That's right.
The rest of it is all just garbage.
That's right. You got to work for it.
So you scan the ship and you see, oh yeah, they do have this really expensive item on this ship, but to get it, you're going to have to spend 6 hours pulling out every cargo thing, looking through the cargo manifest and seeing which one it is. And that process is going to take you time and energy, and you've either boosted the ship and ran away with it, but now you can be tracked by security, or you're sitting there in space waiting for somebody to find you, because the whole sea's not going to be moving out in the middle of nowhere. It's going to be in the middle of a trade lane. Yeah. So there's so many different aspects to the game which people don't realize. And on top of that, just because the whole sea is not a combat ship doesn't mean it can't hurt you. Mm-hmm. So if you get it hurt during an attack on a whole sea, you're gonna have to pay for that repairs, because it's going to persist, and it will cause you deteriorating experience over time. And I know a lot of this sounds like oh, this is all nice, but it's some of this stuff's already in the game. It's just a matter of like smoothing out some of the rough edges, and this is already there. So in general, the whole sea is as a ship is going to be used for a very specific type of gameplay, and while could be pirated, is probably not going to be a pirate's wet dream when it comes to making millions off of the whole sea. Yeah. You'd be more like a Somali pirate, where you're doing targets of opportunity and you're taking them and
I forgot about them.
Yeah. You're not Jack Sparrow. You're a dude in a dinghy. Yeah. And it got too close just to ruin station. That's what it is.
I mean, you see. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the whole sea is perfect for people who want to play Euro Truck Sim in space. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
It's designed for.
I agree.
Yeah, piracy can change. I mean, it can have different variables of it. And there are those pirates that literally, it's about the money. It's about, making a profit. There are the other people who maybe they won't take the whole sea, but they will hold you up for ransom. They'll block you in. They'll make sure you can't travel. Listen, my standing order for my crew will be defend. If they've shut me down where I can't move, it'll be defend. And before we get ready to die, everybody will go to a certain component, pull it, and destroy it. Now, if you want to move that whole sea in space, you better brought every component that fits in that sucker to move it. Otherwise, you're going to be dead in space for a while trying to figure out how to get that thing out of there.
Well, and even as life becomes more valuable in the game, because having to regen, it will cost you time.
Yes.
Delaying actions so that if they're taking your ship, you're slowly delaying them and making them pay for every single centimeter of space they take. Is suddenly going to become like a cost.
Is it profitable?
Is it worth it? Is this worth it?
Yep.
Making it, and that's the key for a good defense in Star Citizen is going to be a good defense in a lot of life, which is just, is it worth the effort?
Yeah.
And it's not about being perfect and being being indefensible because anyone can destroy your whole sea if they wanted to. If they really wanted to, it wouldn't be difficult.
Yeah.
The problem is that is it worth the cost of the missiles, the blood, sweat, and tears and cash that you're going to have to expend to do that?
Yep. Your ego can be very expensive later, guys. That's what we're telling you.
Yes.
It could cost you a lot of money. Okay.
By the way, I do want to say that we are joined by another guest. We have Sigullion. He died on video on Griffin screen, but he will be on mine. So I've already got him set up, so should be good to go. But welcome, Sigullion. Would you have anything to say about the whole sea?
07. I have 4 Hull Cs. What does that make me?
I mean, it makes you a C4.
Explosive.
It makes you it makes you a dedicated backer. That's what it makes you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have you, Sigullion. In fact, you know what? Sigullion, do you want to sit in?
I'm here. I'm here to sit.
Yeah, we can we'll drop you in. Okay, we'll have you come in. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see.
I got him set up on mine already.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm not going to drop mine, so I'm going to just drop him in. Okay, and then he'll be in here already. Okay. What was I getting ready to say? Did everybody get to talk about the whole sea yet? Except for Sigullion, because he's here. He can talk about it too.
I want to just say very quickly.
Sure, Stim.
The whole space trading is definitely very close to my personal heart. From privateer and the trading we used to do. For me, that's what I'm most excited to do is be a space trucker to get through that. I've actually gone the route of going through getting the whole line of Hull series, which I think is absolutely crazy because I have no idea if those org level events that you're going to need the Hull D for and the Hull E for. So the Hull D is 20,000 SCU. The Hull E is 90.
Isn't that ridiculous?
So it's ridiculous. So those are going to be, when we talk about the logistics side and we talk about, a weekend thing, that's going to be an entire weekend doing one haul.
Yeah.
From a Hull D or Hull E.
In my perspective, the Hull D or Hull E is like you found a place where your org is going to set up a long-term base. And so you need to move everything you have. So you put it into a Hull D and have everyone escort the Hull D to the place and then unload it and drop it onto the planet kind of thing. That's the kind of usage for that. It's huge. Or as you said, the events, like a massive event, like a plague or a war, like the results of a battle where you need to have refugees or you need to have like massive amounts of food and water being trucked into a place to because the infrastructure is destroyed, like in lore, like the attack on Vega, just crap tons of supplies to keep people alive, sort of thing.
And they talk about in the original Hull series Q&As, like the original Q&A for the Hull series, they talk about the different modules and what you'd be able to do with them. And they talk about, making them bristling battleships, where on the edge, instead of having the advertising panels, you'd have turrets mounted. Whether we end up getting that stuff is another story as we go through, but it could be where your Hull C, if that came into the game and you're able to do things with the Hull C to bring it back to that ship, you might be able to have more guns, or you might be able to have modules on it that are not specifically for cargo. They might be you might be able to somehow use your Hull C to do science, and you've got science-based modules on there.
Ooh.
Something like that. But again, that's conjecture.
If Asgard's going to take his Endeavor module and stick it on the side of his Hull C, that'll be the way that'll be his cheat way to do it until the full Endeavor comes out.
I'm just looking forward to the first person who's going to make the Q ship, the Hull E into a Q ship, just spawning different fighters coming out of all of the cargo containers and whatnot. So yeah.
Let me take a break here real quick. I've got to duck out for a little bit. I'm going to be gone just for about, but Fast Cart, it's in your hands right now. We want to welcome Sigullion for joining us. He dropped in a little early and we're happy to have him. That means we have him for more time.
Wait, is this early? I thought I was on time.
Is he on
It's
time?
11.
No,
I'm on
yeah, he's on time.
He's
Yeah,
on time. Oh, time for me. I'm off on my time. Okay. So
Yeah.
what we want to do, and I forgot, just time flying by so quickly. Sigelian, why don't you introduce yourself for a little bit and let people know who you are in case people haven't seen you, and what you do in Star Citizen. And in FC, you can pick it up from the rest of Hull C and Master Modes, and I'll be back, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay.
Okay, so I guess we're doing it this way. All right, so Gillian, tell everybody about yourself.
I identify as a Hall C. Like, since that ship came out, like, I realized that this is like my home now, you know? And one thing I absolutely love about it is the fact that I don't need to wear a spacesuit anymore. Like, has anybody talked about that? I think more people should talk about that.
I talk about the bug with the atmosphere.
It's not a bug. I mean, like, I don't need a spacesuit anymore, you know? I could do my trade, I could log in, I could make my money, I didn't never need to wear a space. That's like, I think that's the first time in Star Citizen where I can really say I could do that now, you know? I think that's a pretty big deal.
So you're gonna live and die on your whole series, what you're saying, basically.
Well, I mean, I'm on
He
space
just wants to
station.
be comfortable. He just wants to be
Yeah.
comfortable. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I also that's also a good point because I think a lot of people aren't ready for the resource system. Because when the resource system comes in, your oxygen, your suit will start to lose oxygen, and you'll have to maintain that. So having a suit on all the time is going to be expensive because you have to refill your life support and your batteries and stuff like that. So having something like a Hull C where you don't have to put on a spacesuit every time you get into your ship, it's like, yeah, I'm good with that.
Liberating, freedom. But you know what, Paul? I wonder if that's not how people think of Star Citizen. Like when you play, like people play Star Citizen, are they just getting to like Call of Duty? Are they just like gearing up to the maximum, like min-maxing it, and then that's how they're experiencing it? Like they don't have a second life
I think so.
part of their brain where they're just kind of.
Well, yeah, but I also, you know me, Sigelian. I'm of the kind of guy who's like a lot of people are going to get into a really shocked change of reality when life support and like when you have to go when you're going through like landing zones and you'll get stopped being like, yo, you look like you're geared up to go assault a heavily armed space station. You need to take the armor off and put the guns away before you come in through these doors. That sort of thing, which a lot of people say, oh, that's just role play. I'm like, no, it's going to matter because there's going to be regulations and laws, and that'll make smuggling, stuff that I want to do, more profitable because the people inside, say, like Lorville, probably aren't allowed to have guns. But if you know how to get in without going through the scanners, then you can deliver guns to those people and make some money because it's going to cost them more money. It's all about like the stuff that even feels like role playing is going to be part of the game, and part of the gameplay. So.
And that's what I'm
role play
looking
should be automated.
All right. So next up on the docket, we have my least favorite term, and Paul knows this, but we have to cover it: master modes and experimental modes. It's just specifically master mode. Why CIG? Why? But yeah. So what do people thought about master modes or experimental mode in Arena Commander? Let's start with AstroPub because yeah, I know you definitely have stuff to say about this.
Listen, would you be okay with it if they gave you the 4x4 plot and the Drake Mule?
I would be. That would make up for it. That would make up for it quite a bit. So thank you very much. I love when people use my jokes. I love it.
It's such a good joke. The fact that it nearly caused PC Tech to spit soda out of his nose was great. But I've played a little bit around with the whole thing. I like the idea of master modes. I know they're going to keep working on it. But I think the idea that they actually can put experimental technology inside Arena Commander for us to test first, bravo. As a survivor of the great kerfluffle of hover mode, I think a hover mode would have gotten over a lot better if it was in a mode like Arena Commander before it got into Star Citizen. So just in general, I think that's a good idea.
Thank you. Stim, how about you? What do you feel about master modes and experimental modes?
You know, I haven't played enough to really last little bit to really understand how master modes is really impacted. I think it's a good step in the right direction. For me, I'm really looking to see kind of what the end goal is, and I'm trying to be a little bit, easy on CIG as they go through it.
Thank you. I'm very happy to have you here, Casey Rideback TV. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Please continue, Stan.
No problem. No problem. Great for the follow. It's CIG's trying to go through these things, and hover mode was, a huge issue, but you had the vocal minority that was super vocal, really trashing it, and it wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't what we want in the end. So,
it was a learning curve.
Yeah, it was a learning curve. But I think as we go step by step, we're getting a lot better. So, what I like, and if we get kind of back to part of the concept of what we're going through today, and that is, can the citizens fix Star Citizen? And it's really about how we as a community are being able to give our input. Star Citizen is the most crowd-funded game of all time, but it's also the most crowd informed game of all time.
And feel about that? No, I'm kidding.
Well, and for good or bad, CIG is incredibly good at getting. We talk about losing the baby with the bathwater. CIG is very good at making sure that baby's nice and safe. And that all the information through all the negativity and the way that the passion in which people are delivering the information, CIG is really good at being able to get those details out. So, any kind of toxicity that comes through, and I'm not saying be toxic, but I'm saying if you have something to say and you don't know how to filter that in a way that's politically correct, as long as you're not offending people overly, say it, because that information is really useful for CIG.
I'll piggyback on that and just be like, there's a reason why there's a lot of devs who like working on Star Citizen, and contrary to popular belief, the player feedback is kind of part of the reason, because most devs have to imagine working in a dark room, barely lit, for 8 to 12 hours a day for 6 years straight, and then hoping that people like what you're making. Having some idea, but having no concrete idea of what you're making is actually good, if people will enjoy what you do. And that's kind of what a dev does. So the fact that
lit room is barely lit by choice, though. Like,
yes, that's true. It is barely lit by choice, but imagine working for hours and hours and over years and not knowing if what you're making is going to be well received or understood or works well. You can have ideas and you can have hope. You can hope for it, but with CIG, like every 6 months they get feedback, so they know exactly if something's good or not, and so they can like iterate on it. Every 3 to 6 months they can iterate on what they were going to work on, and it's much better.
If we were playing Jeopardy, we would have said, "What is Starfield?"
Yeah. Well, Starfield's a good example, because they didn't know what was going to work and what wasn't. They just based off of what they like to do and what they thought would be good. And I think a lot of people enjoyed it, but there's also a lot of folks, especially in our community, who were hoping it was going to be something it wasn't. And if people had played Starfield when it was in early beta, a lot of more people would have been like, "Oh, that's what it's supposed to be." And there's probably some things that would have changed for development wise. Like, they probably would have emphasized more of the optimizations, which they obviously didn't, because they didn't realize that what they were doing, and especially for like PC stuff. So Star Citizen is benefiting from that dramatically, from that instant feedback. And I would say that a lot of developers see us backers as part of the development team because of that instant feedback. They see us that our influence has a lot to do with where the game goes. So as much as people don't want to believe that.
So let's hear from Sigelian and then Nomad. So Sigelian, what do you thought about master modes or experimental modes?
Yeah, and I definitely want to touch on what AstroPub says, that like I definitely feel like I'm a part of the development team. Like, I'm a coder IRL, that's how I pay my bills, and the reason why I'm a part of this project is because I'm passionate about software development, and I feel like I'm a part of the development team. And I don't really give a damn if anybody can challenge that, whether it's true or not. I feel like I put enough money in the project to have that ego. That's That's where I love to be. Master modes, I think it's primarily for PvP and combat, so it doesn't have any effect on cargo trading. So this doesn't really, I don't think this really matters to me. I mean, it'll be cool when it comes. I enjoy flying. I like the fidelity. I like Microsoft Flight Simulator. I hope they get to an aerodynamic flight model as soon as possible. I was a big fan of the John Pritchett hover mode. I thought that was sweet. Man, if we could just rewind time.
Okay.
If we could just go back and put that thing in Arena Commander instead and let's play with that for 6 months, I think we would have had a pretty sweet system. But that's neither here nor there, so we just keep on trucking along, don't we, Fast Forward?
All right, thank you for that. Then Nomad, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Sigelian. Since I'm not really a great combat person or a great maneuvering person, I just fly. I like to fly boxes, and so master mode for me is like, it's kind of separate. It's like it doesn't really affect me all that much. I don't need master mode to deliver a box, or deliver cargo. But I see where they're going, because they want to bring that. They want to bring some type of flight fidelity, and bring combat to some sort of commonality that everybody can understand it, and everybody can get the most out of combat without that jousting, and then jousting, that all that stuff. And again, like I said, and I saw Jade's comments about hover mode. I got hover mode. I understand what they were trying to do. These are spaceships, okay? The lunar module, Apollo lunar module, was a spaceship, okay? That was hover mode, okay? Hover mode is, everybody's flying around, but then all of a sudden here, fly this helicopter. Oh, it's a whole nother thing. I have DCS. I got the Apache module. It took me hours to get to a point where I can reliably hover. That was hover mode. They're trying to bring these ships to a point where these spaceships that come down to the ground and land them, because they're not just going to sit in space magically. They're going to. You gotta bring them in, like a lunar module, like. The amount of effort that goes into autonomously landing a lander on another body is not just it's not automatic. There's a lot of stuff going on in there in order to get the thing to land properly. That's one of the reasons why they had to use the famous sky crane, in order to get because it was easier to try to get the thing to land perfectly on itself, because that's hover mode. It's very difficult to have that thing to do that on, autonomously, much less with a pilot trying to sit. But in reality, that's what you got to do in order to get down to the surface of a planet. If it's not using a runway, you're going to have to hover it and bring it down. That's what they were trying to do. It was poorly implemented, but that's what they were trying to do.
I think we veered from the topic a bit, because everyone
yes,
had
yes,
a lot more to say about hover mode.
Yes, I understand. We're supposed to go into master mode, but I think master mode is kind of heading in that same direction. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I was getting at. It was like, okay. We got this mode that people are trying to wrap their heads around, but some people can, some people can't. So it's feeling a lot like that same hover mode issue that people are going to try to get. That's what it feels like to me. And so, yeah.
I was going to say that I think generally what most of us are saying is that we really I haven't had enough time with master modes to really just see the difference. But the idea behind the experimental modes is a good one.
Yes.
And the reason why I brought up hover mode was because I think hover mode would have gone over a lot better if it was an experimental mode than it was if they just dropped it into live, because there was a lot more people. Like, I myself didn't like it at first, and I understood what it was afterwards, and it was like, oh, it's as simple as you just hold this button down and then you fly like a helicopter. But so many people had to completely rethink how they flew ships, and so as a result, you had ping pongs all over the place instead of the result that CIG wanted. And so things like hover mode will probably make its return with the experimental modes. That's why we're getting the master mode that so many people have been complaining about. Like master modes when it was announced, they're like, oh, you need to give it to us. You need to let us play it, because if you don't play it, then you're just screw it up. Just like hover mode, just like all of the combat modes that have been bad and all of the ships that you've misbalanced. You have to get players to play it because none of us trust you to actually make it something good. And so then they have an experimental mode, and it's right there for people to play now. So it's suddenly available for people to try it out and give the feedback on. So which is good. I think that's a good step.
Yes, indeed.
Ooh, Salty Mike. Ooh, thank you for the raid of 385 people.
385 people.
Thank you for the raid. Welcome, raiders.
Nice
Today we're doing a 12-hour. Today we're doing a 12-hour live stream for St. Jude Children's Hospital. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. And we're trying to reach our goal of $10,000, but our next giveaway, our next milestone is at $3,500, and we're $155 away. So if we hit $155, we will give away a 3-pack of the Tumble Ranger, called the Centauri Pack. Welcome, Raiders. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. And yeah, right now we're talking about update 320. So I think we covered master mode and experimental mode pretty much there. Let me put the link for the St. Jude Children's Hospital in the chat so people can donate. So here we go. Please donate there. Thank you very much. Well, okay, so next up, our next topic is physicalized cargo. Thank you for the follow. Physicalized cargo. I'm going to start with Stigalian. What do you think about physicalized cargo? Because you love the whole sea.
I do love the Hull C. Do we have physicalized cargo for the Hull C though? I don't really think we do. Like, we can't pull the cargo boxes off the Hull C, so. Do you consider that physicalized cargo?
I think it's more about the Inside Star Citizens that we've been having. Do you think, where we're talking about the last two episodes?
And hold on, that was a whole bunch of anonymous. Okay, thank you for anonymous for the 10 gift subs. Again, we appreciate the subs. We never want to say no to subs, but we appreciate them. We much rather you donate to the fundraiser. Thank you. But yeah, physicalized cargo, I think the topic is like the ISC, yes, but we do have that separate hangar for the whole sea that people can come in. And Malik, thank you. Oh, I think that's part of the anonymous thing. So now let's continue on 10 times. But yeah, to talk about the hangar for the whole sea, that the docking for that. So yeah, physicalized cargo in that aspect.
Docking is awesome. I love docking. That's like my favorite thing. Ever since, like, I don't know, the Hull C made it so much fun. That's like the new challenge in Star Citizen. You know what? I just want to say one thing though. Like, I wish Star Citizen would like do this. It's like physicalized cargo. Like, I wish they determined how many SCUs the Planet of ArcCorp consumes per hour of like all of the the stuff that it needs, like hydrogen or med supplies.
I'm sure Tony has that somewhere. I'm sure it's
okay,
somewhere in the background, but we don't know ourselves.
If it's 5 million boxes of med supplies, it should bring all of those boxes in, and like, can the server handle that? And how does the planet consume these commodities, and what commodities is it creating? Like, I just wish they would create this around the Planet of ArcCorp first, and then we can take that gameplay and extend other things. Because I think it's going to be a Hull E level stuff. Like, I think Hull E's are really required to provide the planets all of the stuff that they need. And I think ArcCorp is like the maximum of that. Like, I don't think any other planet would consume more than ArcCorp. Couldn't imagine a bigger planet than that. But I think that's one way they should maybe introduce the physicalized cargo. Then it's really testing the economy with the server capabilities. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think the cargo, like we talk about, can the server handle that cargo? And I think it would be able to. Because if you have bind culling working properly, you're only going to see that if you're at a cargo loading destination, right? So
okay, but I mean, I'm not talking about like 3D model, like that type of processing power. I mean, I'm just talking about like the economy elements of it. Like, the server's going to have to keep track of all of the things that are being consumed and produced, right? And that times like 1 million.
But the economy is on its own server. Right, that is the backbone of all the other servers in the economy. My understanding is based upon is that there's going to be one economy, no matter how many instances of Star Citizen there are, where there's a North American instance, an Australian instance, whatever it is. It's going to be one global economy on its own server.
Yeah, but I mean, to Scaling's point, like having that information of just how much stuff should be like transferred to the various locations would be nice to have for players, because it's like, while it's not easily accessible, like how much water New York consumes on a daily basis, or power that it consumes, and hiding that information from players doesn't seem like it would make a lot of sense. But you're right, it is going to be a separate instance, so like that, but that should be like a global thing, something they're going to track with, whatever this vaunted quantum, which is only sort of in the game right now. So it would be nice to have that.
We're gonna make real quick. We're gonna make thank you for the $10. Anonymous, thank you for the $10, and Rogue Captain Harris, thank you for the $10. We're 125 away from our next giveaway. So yes, thank you. What were we gonna say, Nomad?
No, I was just saying thank you for the.
Okay. Yes, and thank you for the sub. Oh shoot, I scrolled up. Envoy 70, thank you for the sub. And Segali, you're asking about the physicalized cargo. We're talking about 320. You might have missed this at the beginning, but in the 320 update, they have physicalized cargo update, new cargo sizes, whole sea update. Alpha 320 brings it about new cargo functionality to include support for the newly released whole sea with automatic cargo loading at low Earth orbit LEO station, as well as improvement to the cargo placement system and grid is shipped to support various ship-sized boxes up to 32 SCU and different orientation placement. So I just want to give people a reference point to what we're talking about here. So yeah, that's what I meant by physicalized cargo update for 320.
I don't know if we're quite there yet because we don't have the persistent hangars. I think once we have that in the freight elevators, I think freight elevators are going to be the real big deal. Like, because that means we're transferring the physical boxes from the storage to their selling location, like actually. So I think whenever that comes in, soon TM, then we actually have physicalized cargo. Yeah.
I think Stim and AstroPub, you already talked about this somewhat. Unless you have something more to say, I want to go to Nomad.
The only thing I say is, like, I think it's good that we have more cargoes than just the one SCU. That's going to make a lot of things easier. Because so many people were complaining, like, it's going to take forever to load up X ship. And it's like, yeah, because you're using one SCU cargo pods. When you have 32 SCU cargo, that's like, for like a let's just say
like 32 times less the time.
Yeah. No, for like the Hercules. Like the Hercules has what, 400, 500 units? And it's like, oh, that's going to take forever. It's like, yeah, but when you have 32 SCU, that's 100 units is a little over 4 boxes. So that's what, 4 times 5. So my brain not working with math this early. Something like that.
You're not the only one.
Like, yeah, I think about it around that. Yeah, it's like moving that many boxes versus 500 boxes is a lot better. So,
what's funny is I used to have
the good coffee here that allows the math to work.
I used to have so many people coming by my stream throwing shade because I do cargo in the C2, and they used to say, "Oh, you'll never be able to do that when the game's actually live because it's going to take too long to load up your C2." But in reality, I mean, CIG is calibrating everything around a fun time period. Like we have about 4 minutes to load the hull C because they've changed how many cargo containers are loaded at a time. And like I saw the Argo MPUV at loading a hull C, and that looks like so much fun. I could see myself just doing that for a living. Like I want to be an MPUV pilot.
Based.
That seems exactly how it would be, right? Like it makes a lot of sense that that's exactly what the gameplay mechanic would be. Is you land, some kind of dock area, you pick up, a 32 SCU container, you fly it over, and you orient yourself perfectly so that you're landing kind of on that grav plate and dropping it off there. It's really kind of neat. I wonder if we're going to get the SCU boxes that are self-propelled in some way. If that's like no longer a thing, or if that's actually.
Ooh, I remember those. Yeah, those are. What was that? That's like 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I barely remember that. Yeah.
Like maybe you get much faster loading times, but they only carry half the cargo because the rest of it is for propellant and electronics and thrusters.
Yeah.
But I do want to give a shout out to I Am Caffeine Fiend. They gave $250, and Anonymous just gave 55 or 50. I got the print is too small for me to say. 55. So thank you, Anonymous, for 55. But I Am Caffeine Fiend. Thank you for the $250. That enables us to do our next giveaway, our first giveaway today. So I'm going to set that up. Give me a moment while I get the right tab up over here. So thank you for that, and I appreciate everybody who's donated so far.
Nomad, I think it's his turn to talk about it.
Okay, yes. Yes, go ahead.
It's going to be nice to get away from bringing in a ship and then having to run to a cargo control panel and say click, okay, everything's delivered. You know what I mean? That's how we had to do it at first, because that's just how the mechanics of the game, the limitations of the game is that's just how it had to be done. Now it's going to be a lot more fun for people who like this type of immersive experience, that kind of second life, that kind of life that I want, is to be able to go in and just do a job. And so if I want to stand there and talk to the dockmaster about my cargo manifest and transfer stuff and watch it get transferred, to me, that's going to be awesome. And so that's one step closer to that type of gameplay with the physicalized cargo. And so, I want to stand there with my tablet and say, okay, these 4 boxes go here, these 10 boxes go here, and hand it off to the loadmaster. The loadmaster's going to say, okay, we're going to verify it, and we're going to watch that cargo come on and off. And it says, oh man, that is going to be a game changer, literally. That's if physicalized cargo is getting closer to that, I'm all for it.
Thank you. And yes, the giveaway has started. You could put exclamation point ticket. Remember, the Soul team is not yet eligible. Gomab and Colossal, if you're out there, I'm looking at you. You're not eligible if you're on the Soul team. Nomad, you're new to this, so you probably didn't know about this. Right? You're not eligible. We got a raid coming in.
Okay.
Very nice.
Daily Noob just raided. Thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. And you're just in time for the giveaway. Exclamation point ticket for a Sons of Centaur pack. That is the free pack for the Tumble Ranger. I had that going for
best vehicle in the
a few
game.
minutes.
I
had that going for a few minutes. So yes, welcome Raiders. And yes, we are doing a fundraiser for St. Jude Children's Hospital. I'll put the link in chat again. Well, it's scrolling right now, but I'll go ahead and do that. That's the wrong link. There you go. So yes, we are doing a giveaway for St. Jude Children's Hospital. Trying to reach $10,000. If we reach $10,000 by October 22nd, that's a StimCitizen weekend, we'll give away a Endeavor Master Set. But we have a whole bunch of milestones in between now and there. We just hit 3,500. Our next one is at 3,750, 3,750 before our next one. And then we'll give away a Miss Prox Protector. So we're only $70. Yeah, $70 away from my next giveaway. So yeah, $70 we give away a Miss Prospector.
We just qualified for the first giveaway, so you're coming in at the perfect time. Make sure you get into that giveaway and stick around, listen to what's going on, and if you have a chance to donate to get us to the next giveaway, it'll make the show more fun. Hang out and have a great time.
Happy to be here. I'm very happy to have you. All right, so our next topic. I think we covered physicalized cargo. Was that everyone? Good. All right, so our next topic is CFM Station. Yes, we no longer have Port Olisar. We have a new king. Long live the king. CFM Station.
Can I step in on this one? I'm gonna make the very brave and controversial opinion that I hated Port Olisar. I've always hated Port Olisar. I'm glad it's dead.
Wow!
I I will enjoy.
Wow,
I will
you break
enjoy
my
all of
heart.
your hate posts in chat, please.
Aw.
The only thing I'm a little upset about, and this is something I really want CIG to do in the future, is that I like the new stations and like the kind of the orbital stations, but they're all so generic. They need to have some more theming to them to make them fit with the places that they're supposed to be servicing. I get it's supposed to be
Yes,
modular,
agreed.
but there's like their trailer homes are modular, but each one is unique if you've been inside of them. So like, it's possible to like spruce up the inside a little bit, or maybe a little bit outside. So
And I see a bunch of donations coming in already. You have Anonymous giving 55. I think I already covered that one. Coffee gave $20, and BBG gave $25. So
Oh, you guys are awesome.
We're $25 away from our next giveaway after this one. So I'm gonna let it go on for 5 minutes total. I have the timer on. We'll have another minute and 20 seconds before I end it and try to draw a winner. So yeah, you gave us your opinion about that. AstroPub.
I kicked over the trash can. Although the rest of y'all figure out how to fix it up.
Can I jump in on this one? I got to get going pretty
All
soon,
right.
so I just want to kind of ring in
Okay.
here. I'm also going to go really light on this guy because as far as the whole topic of the news station comes in, and the quandary is really kind of the word of people having a problem with PO going. First of all, PO is going to come back, so that's one big thing. It's going to come back somewhere, sometime. I think there's a lot of emotional connection to Port Olisar because it's where a lot of us kind of grew up in the game of really, being able to play in the first experience and going out there and standing and looking at this giant planet that's right there and having, the rings turning, that sense of real time, that immersion. And then PO has that speed to get into the game, to get flying straight away that we didn't have with every other landing zone, and that is better with the new one, but it's still not quite the same. Like boom, you can jump into your craft straight away. So I think that's what people miss the most, is that nostalgia of what they kind of had to begin with, and the fact that they can jump in straight away. And now that we have something new, which I think is better overall, I'm going to agree with you, Paul, in that we definitely have something that's better. But I'm going to stay like Sweden on this one, super neutral, because whenever you have emotional connections to it, people get really frustrated by it. So yeah.
I mean,
Agreed.
when the Persistent Universe first started, that was home. That was the first thing we saw. So yeah, it's a lot of nostalgia. And I want to say, Mercury, thank you for the $25, and Gene, thank you for the $20. We are at 3,770. So we're at our next milestone. So I'm going to give it another 10 seconds before I close it and then draw it. So people have a exclamation point ticket to get in here if you haven't already.
Yep,
You have
make sure you get
36
in.
entrants. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Good luck to everyone. 37 entries, and they're going to draw a winner. And, oh, good. Well, Nomad, you're the rookie of the group. Give me a 5-point countdown to draw a winner.
I'll do it like the old Thunderbird show. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The winner is Will SC. Will SC, are you there? Please respond.
All right.
Happy to be here.
Really happy to have you. Will SC.
Is he here? Will SC, are you here?
There you are,
here
Will
again.
SC. All right, so let me write your
There
name
you
down.
go.
So
Yay,
don't
there you
forget.
go. Congrats.
Congrats, man.
Congratulations, you won the Centaur pack for the 3 Tumble Rangers. So Will SC got that. Centaur pack. All right, I have that in there. All right. So now I'm going to mark this as complete. Thank you. Okay. And then I'm going to start the next one because we already got that. Close. Okay. Make sure I did it right. Hope I did it right. Okay, all right. So let me do this. Go to the timer. Gotta check something real quick. Okay.
How long are we going to wait before we give away the next one now that we've qualified for it?
I think we're just gonna go right into it because we already have our next milestone is 4,000. So we're what
Do people have to
210.
re-enter? Do people have to re-enter to get into the next
People
one?
have to re-enter. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna put that in there. Hold on. So let me get this thing here. This is the Miss Prospector. Go down to here, cause okay, so I'm trying to do this here. So
by.
okay, so here, yeah, exactly.
Do.
All right, so Miss Prospector. Here we go.
I'll talk a little bit while we kind of wait for that. And we were talking about kind of the hover mode before, and we're talking about the Miss Prospector being one of those ships where it's got to land in order to mine, or how does it hover? Between the Miss Prospector and the Mole, sitting there just trying to just kind of float, be static in space while it mines on a rock that's on the ground. Is that really realistic? Is that the immersion that we want? I think we'd want the Miss Prospector to either land or have to deal with burning fuel in order to stay hovering. At least that's the immersion that I want in the game.
I have a thing to say about that, because in the original videos of the Prospector, it's sitting on the ground and its mining head is pointing straight down, doing stuff. And it's like, what happened to that? Now I get it. The specs changed, but what happened to that? You know what I mean? That looked so cool. And it's like, it doesn't exist. That type of mining does not exist as far as the Prospector is concerned. But it was a great looking picture. What happened to that?
I don't think they ever gave up on it. I think it's going to happen at some point, but I think they have a lot of other things on their plate, so they're sure like, this is fine for now.
Yes.
So.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I want that to come back.
And besides the whole hover land thing, you're talking about really the ore being in the ground below you, and it can be flat. It doesn't have to have like a node that's spawned that's physically protruding from the surface.
Yes.
I'm gonna chime in here. The giveaway has started for the Miss Prospector, just for the exclamation point ticket. I just wanted to also say, thank you for the $20 from Daily News to the fundraiser, and thank you for the donation. I'm sorry your name scrolled off, but before I could note it down, but thank you for the donation. But we're trying to raise money for children's hospitals, St. Jude Children's Hospital. So while we do appreciate your donation to Soul Citizen, we much rather it go to the fundraiser for at least for the 12-hour live stream. So appreciate it. Thank you. I'm gonna say this from Griffin. Scrolled off. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it again. There it is. Okay. So Griffin said, I think what happened is that it's coming. We had to put mining the resource into the planet to be a different way of scanning the whole different mechanic other than doing asteroids of rocks. So that's what Griffin said.
Yeah, right. You got to remember that I think it was sold before the 3.0 revolution happened, so they didn't even know that there was going to be land mining. So,
all right, then I understood.
I've got to get moving on. I want to say thank you so much to the opportunity to actually be on here with all you guys. What a fantastic time. Thank you to Soul Citizens for putting on such a great event and for creating an opportunity to give to St. Jude's Hospital in whichever way we can. I remember really fondly when Paul Shelley invited me to do be part of the Stack Up community, which also gave to St. Jude and other ones. So you really have a group here that is really caring and focusing on these events. I myself, I went through cancer as a young individual, and the type of chemo and radiation and invasive as invasive as that was, I can't imagine what it would be like to go through that as a really young kid. That's a hard thing to go through. And I won't break out into song like Sarah McLachlan and sing, in the arms of the angel and show you puppies that need to be saved.
That'll give us a copyright strike anyway. So thank you.
Everybody would
Well,
leave as
thank
soon as
you,
I start
sir.
singing. So there's, but you know, if you can contribute, if you can make a difference, it goes to a fantastic cause. I think at some point, Fast Card, you probably want to play that video again just to kind of show
Yeah,
people
I don't
about what's
have
going.
control, but as soon as Griffin gets back, we'll play it again.
But you guys, thank you so much for this great opportunity. Have an amazing rest of the fundraiser, and guys, enjoy the time together talking about Star Citizen, and this is what we're here for, and it's so much fun.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it. Take care. Nice
Cheers.
having you.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, so we're gonna let the giveaway run for the Miss Patrick another. Well, I'll give it another couple of minutes. So yeah, we have 39 entrants. I know we have more people than that. Yeah, we got 239 viewers. I'm surprised only so few people. But yeah, so 39 people entering. I'll let it go on for a couple of minutes. All right, so up next we have, oh yeah, unlawful salvage regarding our update 320. Anyone? Well, yeah, Nomad, do you have anything to say about unlawful salvage? Let me see if I can find the thing for that real quick.
Is that new mechanic where you have to go in and try to scrape a hole before the authorities get there?
Yep.
I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to read it right here. So, criminal salvage, ship cover-up, debut of outlaw salvage mission. This all-new mission challenges free-spirited players with stripping of the hull of a definitely not stolen ship that coincidentally needs its identity erasing before the advocacy turns up. Let me retry that. This all-new mission challenges free-spirited players with stripping the hull of a definitely not stolen ship that coincidentally needs its identity erasing before advocacy turns up. So basically, you want to strip it down before the popo shows up. Yeah.
That is a very interesting mechanic. That kind of came out of nowhere. I've never seen anything like that before. And it's very interesting. You know, it's the time-based salvage. And there's weight to it. There's consequences if you don't get it done. And I think it's an interesting an interesting mechanic. I'd like to see where it goes from here. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you for that. Paul, you? Unlawful salvage, any opinion?
Yeah, it's a good use of the current mechanics that they have for for a mission. It's one of those things that kind of shows off what CIG is becoming very good at, which is taking what they have right now and turning it into gameplay that is accessible to more players. So like the idea that the unlawful salvage is not only a better mission, but a more focused mission for a very specific aspect of the game is very cool. And we're going to see that again with 321 with the release of things like consignment missions and the like missions where you have to like stop Ninetales from stealing stuff from a platform, like little mini Siege of Orison missions. So like those sorts of things. It's just kind of like a reflection of that. It's really cool. I haven't done it myself, but I know that anybody who enjoys salvage will enjoy that thing because it doesn't require a full strip down, but it does add that like nice little ticking clock aspect where you got to stress, you got to go boom, 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 be efficient and still be able to like take all of the completely legal substances which are in the cargo hold of said illegal stuff. So.
And I've been remiss. I'm sorry, YouTube. Yes, you have to be in Twitch chat in order to join the giveaway. So I'm going to give it another couple of minutes for people from YouTube to come over to Twitch chat. So sorry about that. I was remiss. Sigalian, what do you think about unlawful salvage?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I love that salvage is popular. I talked to a lot of people who are so hyped about it, and I never thought that salvage was going to be as popular as it is before it came out. I think many of us thought the salvaging was never going to come out, and now this feature is definitely adding a layer of polish to it, the unlawful salvage component, trying to improve the fun factor, I think. And that's something I think we can guarantee CIG to do in the future. And this is just one example of that, but their levels of polish on a feature by improving the fun factor. I think, and there'll probably be more iterations of this in the future to improve the fun factor of these game loops. So I'm glad that they released this, and now we get a taste of what they'll probably be the same treatment they'll be applying to other game loops as well.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't have much to say about unlawful savage. I'm much more rather do lawful savage. So, eh. Plus, I'm like I said, I'm trying to save myself for the gameplay that I really want, like a science or the Benny Measurement or the Endeavor stuff like that. So I don't really have information to do. I did go to certification. I checked it out. It was okay. That's my opinion about certification. But yes, so we have 44 entrants into the mixed prospector giveaway. So I'm gonna close it. I'll give you 10-second exclamation point ticket. 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and closing. All right, so we have 44 people in. Gonna go with AstroPub. Give me a 5-second countdown, please, for the winner.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year.
Wrong. Redbeard's Revenge. Redbeard's Revenge. Right. Are you there? Redbeard's Revenge. We need to speak up so you can be a winner.
Redbeard's Revenge.
There it is. Hey, awesome. There they are.
All right.
Congratulations on winning the Miss Prospector. So I'm going to write your name down.
Redbeard's Revenge. Okay.
Yeah.
Congrats, man.
So congrats, Redbeard's Revenge. And I'm gonna mark this as complete, and I'm gonna hand it back over to Griffin. We just finished our novel coverage.
Yeah, I know. Thanks a lot. I'm glad to be back.
We just finished the update.
The unlawful salvage. Okay, great. You know what? Let's take a break. Stim did suggest, and I was listening while I was in the car, suggested that we run a spot. So that was one of the things that we do want to do. So we're going to run a quick spot to fill you guys in. We do, as you guys know, we are currently raising money for St. Jude Children's Hospital. We are at $3,790, which is great. We have multiple platforms of giveaways. We have an angel donor who has graciously and with a big heart supplied us with so much stuff to give away. One of the things that they would like for us to give away, Paul, hold your hair on. Hold your hair. Reposition your hair. All right, here we go.
I'll just plug my ears.
They actually have given us.
I am very happy to be here.
Whoa.
Thank you for the followers.
Yeah, thank you, Red. There you go. That's how you get. That's how you get followers. Give them something and they follow you. I love it. Our angel donor wants us to give away a Polaris today. So.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
The Polaris is fine. I don't have the problem with the Polaris.
Okay, it wasn't a redeemer, Paul. Okay, I wasn't gonna mess with you that badly. Okay.
Thank you for the follow.
Metal Prophet, thank you for the follow. And we are going to do that. I'm not going to say when we're going to do that, though. We want you to be here. I won't do it at the end of the night. I will say that. But at some point, we may do that giveaway for the Polaris. So it's a CCU Polaris, just so you guys will know. Just give you a heads up. But I'll take a CCU Polaris any day, okay? So just to let you know that. All righty. Thank you. Ship works. Is that right? Thank you.
I was going to say, Griffin, I have no problem with you giving away a pile of garbage. That seems a little bit of unclassy thing to do when you're trying to raise money. Is to be like, hey, here's this garbage shit called the Redeemer.
Oh God,
that's like wow, that's pretty low opinion of the people.
I put a quarter in his back, Fast Cart. I should have never dropped the quarter in his back. That was my fault. Okay.
Oh, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I know. Okay, well, let's take a quick look at this spot real quick about St. Jude, and then we're gonna continue on with our show today. So here we go. Let's take a look.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all, not one bill. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders. Every dollar counts, every donation, it means the world.
It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Finding cures, saving children. Donate now at stjude.org.
Alrighty. As you guys know, we are looking to reach a goal of $10,000. This campaign that we're doing began back in June. And we are running this campaign all the way till CitizenCon weekend, October 22nd is we want to culminate. We hope to reach that amount. We hope to supersede that amount, and you guys can help us do that. So we really appreciate it. Don't forget, if you've given already, we really appreciate it. If you don't have it to give, we appreciate you being here and supporting us. What you can do is share this stream with someone. Let somebody know, hey, there's some cool people doing a cool thing for St. Jude Children's Hospital. That'd be another way that you could help us out as well. But we really appreciate it, and we really believe we're going to get close to that goal, if not reach it. So thank you guys very much for that. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into our, you know what, maybe we should do a little trivia. What do you think, Fast Card? A little trivia for our guests, for Sigelian and Mr. Shelley. We'll see where they are in their trivia, how their trivia game rolls. We'll do that real quick. Let's see, what do we got here? All right.
These trivias that you do, I wish one time you asked like what the Laranite prices were. That's like the only trivia that I know.
All right, I will keep that in mind for next time, Sigelian. I'll make sure I keep what is the current price for Corundrum in the game. I'll be sure to do that next time around. Okay, let's see if we can make this easy for them. We're going to give them some pretty straightforward stuff here. Okay, Sigelian, why is CitizenCon held in October?
Because it's the anniversary of Star Citizen, their birthday, which we just got an email for, by the way.
There we go. See there, you don't need the resources. You got it. There we go. Awesome answer. There we go. What year was it when we got the announcement? Do you remember?
2012.
There we go. Look at that. He's a historian.
Not bad.
Paul, you're gonna have to put him on with you. He got that one. Okay. All right, let's move on to a different category here. We have to challenge Paul a little bit here.
Okay. I'm gonna get it wrong. Every time y'all challenge me, I get it wrong and I feel bad.
All right, here's a CitizenCon question. During CitizenCon 2017, what ship was used to give us a bird's eye view of Hurston? Remember, they flew up.
Yeah, I think it was the Aurora.
Very good. Look at that. These guys, they're killing it. They're killing it. They're killing it. They're killing it.
I remember that because they jumped off the platform. And
you remember that? There you go. There you go. There you go. I don't know. Maybe we should tie this into the donating in some form. You're right. If they get it right, you guys will give a certain amount of money. Maybe we could hit that $4,000 mark. By the way, when we reach $4,000, what are we giving away, Fast Card? We're giving away what?
We hit $4,000. We're giving away
Is it
RSI Apollo Triage?
Oh, the Apollo Triage. Okay. Those of you who are into that whole medical thing.
LTI
with LTI. Okay, there you go. All right. That'll be, if we hit 4,000, we are only 100, was it 210? $210 away. 210. You guys can make it happen. 4,000, we can hit it. Okay. Let's see. Sigelian.
Oh, I know what I have to say.
What?
People who've already won, realistically, you won the Centaur Stim Pack. Send an email to SoulCitizen with an S at the end at gmail.com with your RSI email address. Redbeard Revenge, you won the Mixed Prospector. Send an email to SoulCitizen with an S on the end at gmail.com with your RSI at email address, please.
Yep.
So you can send those on to you.
Please do. Our anonymous donor is online, by the way, watching. You know what, Paul? This is like, how like when people are at like an auction and they've got that person who's on the phone talking to the person who really has the money and they're raising it. That's like our anonymous donor. They're like dropping me messages once in a while saying, I'm ready. This is here. We're ready to go. Blah, 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 blah. Which is really cool. Okay, let's see. Let me go back here. That's going to be a tough question. I want to ease them into this. Okay. Sigelian, what was the initial donation? What was the initial donation you would have to give in order to gain access to the Million Mile High Club?
Idris? $1,000.
The amount. What was the amount to get into the Million Mile High Club?
I don't know.
Okay.
I guess 1,000. All
right. Does anybody in chat know? Gin and Tonic got it. It was $10,000. It was $10,000 to get into to the Million Mile High Club. Well, he was letting our guests answer. That's why. Thank you very much, Max is Corrupt. Thank you for that subscription.
Thank you for that.
Again, to the Salty Mike. Mike, thank you so much. Thank you for sending your folks over. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Let's see, Paul. Let me ask you a follow-up question to that. It was $10,000. What is it now? There are still 2 ways to get into the Million Mile High Club.
I want to say 42,000.
Woo! Good googly moogly. No, not that much.
Okay.
Okay.
Then if it's not 42,000, it would be like 20,000 or 15,000.
Okay, 15,000 is correct. And do you know what the second way is to get in? I think there's still a second way to get in. This is a weird one because I forgot about this one.
I think you need to get a referral code.
Yes, that's it. The referral. You get the referral. If you get the referrals, it's one of the tiers.
I think it's like 1,000 referrals.
Yeah, that might have been something like that. Yeah, but if you get enough referrals,
that's where I'm getting my 42 in there. So
yep.
1,042.
Yeah, 1,042.
Yep, there you go. So that's how you can get in. Those are good. You guys did good.
Categories.
Yeah, you guys did good on the trivia. Not bad at all.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good.
All righty. All right, let's jump in.
You do one for Nomad, right?
Yeah, right.
One for Nomad.
Yeah, no, I don't have one for Nomad. This is for the guests. Nomad is already knows all this stuff. I don't have to ask.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, let's go to the next topic here. Big surprise, Paul. You had a great conversation on this yesterday. Sigelian, I think you might have seen this too. But CIG did a fast one on us, which was update 3.2.321. All of us know that we knew there was a 3.20.x. We were definitely expecting a 0.1 because we knew that a couple other things were going to be added, some ships and things like that. We knew that the C1 and the A1 were coming. So we knew there was going to be a 320.1, maybe even a 2. Lo and behold, and here's something funny. This is to Sigelian and Paul, because we talked about it on our show a couple weeks ago. People kept asking, well, what do you think about the 4.0 thing? You know, and my projection was, and this is my personal projection, it wasn't CIG's, but my projection was if they did 3.20 and got it out in third quarter, they were within the guidelines of what they were supposed to do, and fourth quarter was eligible to be a 3.21. It made sense to get 3.2 out before CitizenCon to me, having it running well so that by the time we got to the convention, people wouldn't be complaining about the PTU or the live being buggy. But then they go and drop 3.21 3 weeks before, 2.5 weeks, whatever, before CitizenCon, 3 weeks before CitizenCon. Paul, my question to you and to Sigelian, and I'll go to Nomad and Fast Card afterward, is it imperative that CIG get this patch out because of CitizenCon and make sure that it is running well? And does it leave possibility, as we know CIG, Chris has said this out of his mouth, that this particular CitizenCon will be focused on 4.0 and Pyro. So I want to kind of go into that a little bit. We're going to talk about the con later, but I just want to ask about 3.21. Is it imperative that this patch is out and functioning by the time we get to CitizenCon? Can it still be buggy when we get to CitizenCon? And will it be the only thing that we get through the end of this year? And we'll talk about 4.0 later, but CitizenCon, we can talk about 4.0 if you want to, but CitizenCon is going to be a later conversation. So go ahead. I'm going to go to Sigelian first, and I'll go to Paul.
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be a buggy for CitizenCon because that's the Star Citizen way, and I mean that with as much respect as possible. But one thing I really wonder is, like, were the leaks intentional? Like, is this just getting us lubricated for what's going to happen in CitizenCon? Like, I love that I woke up this morning and someone found Pyro. Like, I saw that Reddit post that someone found the Pyro jump gate, and I'm like, this seems intentional. There's no way that, like, they know how the leakers extract information from the code and the data mining. They know this already. So this seems seeded.
So are you saying that they found Pyro or they found it in the code?
No. They legitimately found
the gate.
They legitimately found the jump point.
The jump point?
And the gate station.
In the game. In the game.
It's in game.
In 3-2-1.
It's low poly.
Well, it's low poly.
Well, this is what I've said. I've said in Fast Card, you remember I said this. I said I hope that when they do it, they put it in and we don't know about it, that we literally stumble across it. That I've always wanted them to do something like that. Now, we can talk about gates and wormholes. Is it a gate or a wormhole? Does anybody know?
It's a wormhole. I mean, they're So all jump points are jump points. They're all wormholes.
Right.
The gates, we don't know why they build the gates, but some gates are this. I think CIG removed it from being a gate because the lore makes no sense for it to be a gate.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because Stanton was discovered like 300 years after Pyro,
right?
So, or 400 years after Pyro. So
right.
Why would someone invest in infrastructure to building a gate from Stanton to Pyro?
Yep.
When Pyro was a hellscape, then
right.
So I think, and they even talked about that, and they said that it will probably remove the gate infrastructure.
Okay, so that's good to know because I used to tell people back in the day that the gate was just something that they put together to give us an idea of how to get there, but that ultimately it would be a physical phenomenon, not a man-made structure that's, stabilizes or supports. So that's interesting to know. Thank you, Sigelian. I didn't know that had been stumbled upon in the verse.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was like an hour to 5 hour journey, something like that people have discovered. People are making the journeys now.
Nice.
To the stations.
Wow. Wow.
And it's so funny how fast they found it. Like what, less than 24 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's
pretty
cool.
fast.
That's very cool.
And technically, the other gate stations are there too, to Magnus and to Terra.
Mm-hmm.
So those may also have stand-in jump points, if not just the stations being available. So
okay. Well,
wow,
that's great news. I didn't know that. That's great news to wake up to today.
Yeah.
Paul, your thoughts on 3-2-1? Pardon the expression.
I think 321 is designed to release before CitizenCon. I think it's just what 3.20.1 was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And they who is it? Starts with a B, and I forgot his name. The second I opened my mouth, it went out the other side. Benoit. Benoit made the post talking about why it was there and explaining it. So effectively what 3.21 is it's the removing the replication layer from the server. And there's a big conversation about that. I don't know the specifics about it. I'm not a replication person for that. That would be Tree would be the one to talk to about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that's the reason why they renamed it 3.21. And from the way it sounds like it's going to be, and that's going to be added later. So in terms of 3.21, I think the important part to take away from it is that CIG is going to add ships. They're going to add missions. They're going to add some small content to 3.21 that we don't have in 3.20. But, and like tractor beams and stuff like that.
Right.
But the stuff that's really important back-end stuff is going to be slowly dripped in over the course of the entire 3.21 patch cycle. And so if it's being released before CitizenCon, I would expect that to be the last patch of the year. And I wouldn't expect a 4.0 to be in Evocati before the end of the year. I'd expect that more to happen after 3.21 has been stabilized and released for them to start doing something like that.
Okay,
so
we've got 3 weeks till CitizenCon. Do you think CIG will go old school on us at the con and say 3.21 is now live?
Yes, 3 weeks is plenty of time for them to test and PTU and release something. That's very, very doable. That's about like the timetable CIG usually works with Evocati, and then 1 or 2 weeks in PTU and then release. That's the old timeline before 3.18 threw everything out the window. So
may I jump in real quick?
Yeah,
go ahead.
So yeah, you're saying that they may drop 3.21 during CitizenCon. My worry is they typically have a free fly event during CitizenCon week, or like right around CitizenCon week. So if they try to drop 3.21 during CitizenCon, then have a free fly after that, who knows what the state of the server and the game will be?
But that's the point. But that's the point.
A whole lot of more people coming in.
But you got to remember, that's the point. Free flies aren't just because of free flies. They actually want to stress out the game.
People try to come in. I know they give great analytic data to CIG, but people want to come in and have fun and see what this whole game is about. It can leave a bad taste.
Nope.
New players.
Nope. You know what? We used to talk about that, but guess what? Their numbers go up every time they do it. They get more people. And remember, this was the argument that happened last time when they did this. They dropped that thing when the game was buggy, and people, now don't get me wrong, there are some people who get thrown off by it. Yeah. But there's going to be so much hype after CitizenCon, regardless of what comes out. We don't know what it's going to be, but it always draws in more people. You know, just their general marketing does. And go ahead.
I was like, can I add something to this?
Sure.
Because I want to point out something. IGN, for some reason, I don't know why. This is IGN. This is like the height of video game season. They decided to make a big stinking deal about CIG breaking $600 million for funding. And it's IGN, so a lot of attention got to put to the front page of Reddit. And when I said that, I said CIG is going to break records.
Yep.
And guess what? September passed the 2022 September record for fundraising.
Yep.
The reality is any news is good news for CIG because it means people are trying it out. As long as they spell the name right and put the right hyperlinks in the thing for the website, they get people who are interested, who are intrigued for all this bad negative news. They look at it, see it for themselves, and then they get involved in it. That's always what happens. It happens every single time.
Exactly.
And even with free flights, it works, and it seems to attract people in. And since people are addicted to negative news, it's helping CIG make money. I don't understand it either, but it's just how it is.
Yeah. I mean, and not to be funny, to Paul's point, there's the gamer side of us that is invested in this from a very different perspective versus the business side of this. And there are a lot of bigger brains. We may be the bigger brains on the gamer side, but there are also bigger brains on that business side that know what the pros and cons are of doing what you're saying, Fastcart. And evidently, the return on investment is high enough for them because they keep doing it. and I know what you're saying. It would seem almost... Because remember, a lot of times we used to talk about how we wouldn't even invite people to play the game because it was buggy. You know, I mean, there are plenty of people I would love to tell to come in, but I don't think they have the what is it called? The muster up the tolerance. So I don't invite them in. You know what I mean? But now I'm getting to the point where maybe now I need to start telling them to just, maybe explain it and say, this is what the deal is and come on in, because they're gaining more people watching. The revenue is coming in. And again, we don't know what CIG is going to show us this October at CitizenCon, but if they happen to do 70% of what we're thinking, this thing is going to go to another level. And this is without 4.0. I'm just talking about CitizenCon, let alone what can happen when we move to 4.0. Nomad, let me jump to you. 3.21, your feelings when you heard this came out.
I think it's in preparation for CitizenCon. You know, they always have their issues when they try to present live. And so this is a chance to get a lot of the things ironed out over a 3-week period before CitizenCon, so that when CitizenCon comes along, they can present. And then there's, because they're going to present something that we haven't seen yet, or something that we suspect is coming, and they want it to go as smoothly as possible. And not have those cringy moments where they're standing on stage and like, the game's kind of breaking, and they want this to be as smooth as possible. So we're giving it to us 3 weeks at a time, iron everything out, and then present the best thing possible during CitizenCon.
Yeah, Fastcart. Paul did a show a few weeks back called The Road to Pyro. We're focusing on the Road to Pyro. Nobody told us. I think all of us assumed that the Road to Pyro was going to be via Amtrak, and then we found out that it was walking. But this time, Chris did not say that Star Citizen or the CitizenCon was about Pyro as much as he said it was about 4.0. And this deal from 3.21 to 4.0, do you think this is going to be the last in the 3-point series? That there won't be a 3-point. I mean, don't get me wrong. There could be a 3.21, 0.1, or 0.2.
Oh, okay.
But but I'm saying, do you think this is it? No 3.22. You think that, the next step is going to be that we're going to be going into 4.0 will be next? Now, let me tell you this too. Some people want to hover around this thing of Chris said, 4.0 will be out by the end of the year. I'm willing to give them the waiver of it being first quarter next year. If it doesn't come out this year. So we know we're in 3.21, and we're still technically, this technically launched in third quarter still. Now we're in fourth quarter is today. Now we could say it goes live in fourth quarter. They'd still be within there every quarter we're putting out a patch thing. So I ain't going to get mad at them for that. But does that say that 4.0 needs to come out afterward, you think?
Griffin, this is the team that said 3.0 was around the corner when it took a year. So when it comes to stuff like that, I give them a lot more leeway. I don't really try to hold them to their word when they say stuff like that. Whenever they give win dates or stuff like that,
But they haven't given their word. They have not given their word. I'm just asking. Okay. I'm just asking. Do you think, based upon the tea leaves, what we're seeing, the fact that Chris is talking about, you know,
I was thinking at 3.3 before 4.0. That's just my from.
You say you think there'll be a 3.3?
Yeah.
A 3.30, you mean?
3.30, yeah, 3.30.
You don't think they'll go to a 3.22?
Oh, 2.22, yeah. Whatever the next one is.
Okay.
I'm saying, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my bad. I try to keep the whole number, sorry.
Okay.
3.22. I think that would be a 3.22.
Really? Okay, so that would be a January patch then. Okay. All right. Paul, were you going to say something?
I was going to say the same thing. I think we still have a high possibility of the 3.22.
Okay.
I believe that, and this is a belief is founded in my own gut. It's buried deep inside there. This is not a foundational belief based off of information I have or some shit. But I don't think we're going to see a 4.0 until this time next year.
Really? Wow.
Yes, and the reason is mostly comes down to how I observe how CIG produces content. Content that we tend to acquire, like that we see, is produced in about 6 months out of the 12 months a year. So they usually, like, one quarter is more like building up the work, the upstream teams bringing stuff downstream experimenting with things, and then we get the big pushes around June because sale in Vegas, and between September and November because CitizenCon and IAE.
Okay.
So as a result, that's when they are incentivized to have the most content released. And I think based off of where their things are going with 3.21 and the replication layer, and with 3.21 likely being the last patch of the year, I don't think they would even get close to a 4.0 patch until sometime in June, May or June. And the problem is that there is absolutely no way in hell that CIG is releasing a 4.0 major patch right before Invictus or right around for the Invictus patch. That is a disaster waiting to happen.
This is where I'm going to challenge you. I would say that I'll buy a redeemer off of you for this, okay, for this wager. I would, but I can't, right? But I can't, right? But I can't. I want to unload it from you so that you can get that monkey off your back, but I know you're stuck with it. But here's my thing. I'm going to push back and say the opposite of you. I'm going to say that I'm looking for a second quarter patch release deliberately because of Invictus, because if they put out, and don't get me wrong, Paul, you're absolutely right about the risk of it coming out.
Yeah.
But my thing is this, we don't know what 4.0 means completely. It could be the static server meshing. It could be Pyro. It could be one could come before the other. They could come at the same time. It could be Vulkan. It means a lot of, all we know is that 4.0 means that there's a major leap in the tech and everything that they're presenting to us. So I'm going to buy into the fact that if they're working on static server meshing already, which we know that they're doing, we know that they're doing this whole thing with the replication layer. We know that they're starting to make this shift. My thing is, as you mentioned, 6 months from now, that puts me in second quarter next year. And if they kick Pyro out at that time, Invictus will blow freaking up on sales, because if they decide to do ships like the Liberator or some other weird crap in there, they'll make a ton of money, but it's risky. They will. But it's risky. It's extremely risky, because if they don't, it could be pretty bad.
I'm gonna update what I said. I said 3.22 in January. I'm gonna say 3.323 for Invictus before 4.
So you're saying second quarter? Wow. Okay. Okay.
So that's how far I think that is. But before, I just want to say thank you for Jockey for the $10. Thank you for Bastion for the $50.
Yes.
Thank you for Getting Tonic for $50. Thank you for Cruisover for $20. We are at $39.20.
$80.
$80 more before the next milestone giveaway.
You guys are awesome. Awesome.
So thank you for that. Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Jump in.
Astro.
The reality is, and I think is that As people have been saying, like, oh, but CIG just releases bad patches. The like 3.18 was not released at IAE. It was a 3.18.2, I think, a 3.18.3.
Oh, you mean around Invictus? Around Invictus, you mean?
For Invictus, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They almost never, I don't think they've ever launched a main dot patch for the events. They've always had a hot fix before that.
Yeah, true.
And I just don't think
it'd be risky.
They're going to, it would be risky, and I think they're going to want to take the 3.18 amount of time to test.
Is Invictus May, right? Invictus is May?
It's May. I think is it late May, early June, something like that.
So if they did it, if they did it, okay. So if they did a 3.22, like you said, in January,
I don't think we would see a 3.22 in January.
Oh, really?
We'd see a 3.22 in March.
Oh, wow. Okay, if you're pushing it back that far, okay.
That's usually when the Q1 patch releases.
Yeah. The third into the third, at the end of the quarter. Yeah.
Because remember, January is a dead month. Like half of
everybody sleeps. Right, everybody sleeps. Which is why we said that we didn't believe that there'd be any 4.0, because the vacations, the break, everything else takes place during that time.
Yeah. Which is and so because of that, between December and like February, it's pretty much nothing.
Right.
February they're still getting back up to speed. April, May, March is kind of a small patch for them to kind of knock off the rust and get everything back up to line.
Okay.
And then they pull the full speed for Invictus, and that would mean that they would have about 4 months to test 4.0.
You're right.
And I think they would need at least the same amount of time they tested with 3.18, which was like 3 months.
Yeah.
So, and plus you also have 3.22. And so there's just a lot of other moving parts that I don't think CIG is going to make that commitment to drop a 4.0 patch with one of the biggest sales of the year, because it would be risky and it would explode in their face.
Yeah, because I didn't think about the timeline of the dates. So you're right. If they did, and I'm just saying if there's no 3.22 and again, seeing them drop 4.0 in the first quarter might be a bit much. Because for those of you who weren't around for 3.0, those are major patches. This isn't the normal, patch drop. When they do that, it's a lot involved in it. So I might buy. Yeah, you might have swayed me here. Maybe it will be post Invictus. I would love to see it before Invictus, but it might be post Invictus.
I would kill for it to be around Invictus, or even there's just like a 3.19 was, like in September. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I would love to see or not 3.19, 3.20.
3.20.
Yeah. Like an August, September release of it, and of it before all this thing. It'd be perfect timing, I think, for the holiday season, for them to really spend from September to December to really work out the kinks and get all those, making it a little bit better and kind of really play with the ideas. But I also have been around this project long enough to know that CIG is good at doing stuff in very short spurts and very bad at doing things long term. Like anything that has to do with long term is very long term.
So. Very true. Very true. That's a good point. Okay. All righty. Everybody's giving their thoughts on 3.21. For those of you who haven't had a chance to check it out, please do. The sooner we get in and check things out, the sooner they can start working on things. I know a lot of us are going to be spending time trying to find the jump point to Pyro. But in the meantime, don't forget to play with all the other mechanics. Get in there and try things out, gang. It's really going to help a lot expedite things here. Let's move on here. We already did a promo. We've already got our guest for our next hour coming up. So I know you guys are there. Thank you guys for being patient and waiting. We'll get you in just a few minutes. But I do want to get Sigelian and Paul's thoughts on this next subject. Paul Sigelian, the last few weeks, I've been doing a series on our Saturday show focusing on the state of the community. Now, when I say the state of the community, I'm talking about the emotional, mental state of where we've been as we've been in what some people call the desert dry zone period of development, and also as we're leading into CitizenCon. So just recently, you guys know that Chris Roberts responded to a post that Tarada posted out. He shared some information about some of the hurdles that they've been dealing with. You know, whenever Chris's letters come out, whether it's a letter from the chairman or whether it's a response, it's like the old days of when EF talks, people listen, everybody kind of focuses on to see what Chris has to say. It was interesting to read the comments. Some people were saying things like, Thank you, Chris, for writing and responding. It's so good to hear from you. We really appreciate when we hear from you, and we'd love to hear from you more. Then there were some people who saying, I don't care what you say, I don't believe you, and until we see it, I could care less whether you post here or not. So you get both sides of the spectrum whenever Chris posts something. What are your thoughts right now as a backer on the state of the game? What, based upon the time that you've been in here, what you've observed, both and I want to come to you first as a gamer and then as a content creator, because I know that those can be separate feelings. But I'm going to start with Paul this time around on the first part of this. What are your thoughts right now as you've watched this arc of development and the community, and where you sense the community's feelings are, where their head is in relation to Star Citizen and Squadron 42 for that matter?
It really depends on which community, because I don't think Star Citizen is a mono community. I think Star Citizen is a group of various communities with all with their own independent goals, like the PvP community, the industrial community, the trading community, the flight community, the ground exploration community. Like there's a lot of different people. Like Reddit is not the community, neither is Spectrum, neither is Twitter or Facebook, but they're all parts of the community that make up the whole. But I will say that I think the current, where the community is currently, in my opinion, based off of my experience with them, is sort of in a darker pit than they have been in the past. I will be very, very clear that anybody who says that this is unusual is only sort of right, because we always, and I mean always, have people losing their minds during information blackout. Hey, everyone's on red alert,
Thank you for the raid.
Yeah,
Thornburg Media.
Thank you.
Welcome, Thornburg Media.
There's just always happens. We've all been like, most of us have been here for long enough to know that the community gets toxic and it can get really, really jumpy. In August and September, like every August is when the flood of people come in being like, this game's a scam, and you're like, and I can track it, because I know when my videos go up. During the good times, I get maybe one or two of those people in the comments, and during the bad times, I get like 6 of them in my comments. So I know when that happens, and it's so common you can almost set your watch by it. The thing about this time is that because Starfield was coming out, people were being extra like doom pilled. Because so many people out there like, Star Citizen's a scam. It take them 10 years to even have another system. And here's Starfield, this infinite system. And then Starfield came out, and I noticed like this shift in the rhetoric almost like within the week of it coming out, and people being like, oh, like Starfield isn't what we thought it was. And I think that has caused it to, and with CitizenCon hype, people have been kind of pulling it up a little bit more. And I think by the time CitizenCon comes out, there'll be a hype train. People will get back on board. It always happens. And it may not be that those people who are doomering or go away. It's just that they'll be drowned out by the more people who are coming back. The reality is August and September is when kids go back to school, when parents have to go back to more regular work schedules, and so people just have less time to be at their computers engaging in a video game community or playing video games. But in terms of where I think the game is right now as a gamer, this is the least I've played Star Citizen in years, like personally. So it's not bad. It's just not engaging anymore. And I think that has a lot to do with the stuff I want to do isn't available. That's it. As a content creator, it's okay. There's more stuff being added. It's just stuff that's not really interesting me. Like the illegal salvage missions. Great idea. I'm not a salvager, so I'm not really my thing, but I can talk about it. I can play around with it, but it's just not my bag. Yeah. So
okay. Okay. Let me go to Sigelian, and I'll come back to you, Paul. Sigelian, as a gamer, how do you feel, you as a backer, about where the game is now, the arc of this whole development process?
Man, I don't know if I really would say I'm a gamer because like it came from doing Microsoft Flight Simulator and Kerbal Space Program, which many people don't consider games and like full-time
Good
jobs
games.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean that's my perspective.
Yeah.
But I mean as a streamer, I could definitely weigh in on this because the Laranite prices won't change too much regarding this. But I think, you know, just off the base of people I talk to on Twitch, that things are pretty low right now and people don't have a lot of faith in the brand right now. I think that's real. And I think for those people that CIG needs to knock it out of the ballpark at CitizenCon in order to impress the majority of these people. And I think that a lot of them are going to be disappointed. So I think we'll probably lose a good chunk of backers because they're not going to have their expectations met. And then I think we'll pick up a whole new group of backers too. So I think we'll be right where we left off previously. And it's kind of like that every year almost. There's like these waves of disappointment and then hyping. That's what we have year after year. I think for me though, it's about the people and who are invested in the brand. Gamers kind of are always swiping left for the next big game, whatever. They'll just go on to the next one. But us, we kind of, you know, this is like a family. So I'm into this family. I hope that's not too strange.
No.
But you know, one thing, Griff, was funny is that when we went to the virtual CitizenCon that one time, and that one guy who got really salty, and he had a hard time understanding and comprehending community, you know, because I think he was comparing it to like a Fallout or Call of Duty community or something. And I don't think it's really like that in Star Citizen. I think we're more like a family. And that person really didn't understand it. And I know there's probably 1,000 other people like them out there, you know, who really just don't kind of can't wrap their brains around the community that we have here. And I think that's pretty lonely. And I feel really bad about that. But, you know, Starfield changed a lot of things, way more than I thought it was going to. It definitely stirred up a lot. And I think the majority of CIG staff are right in that this is going to help Star Citizen sales with Starfield. I'm seeing that now. People are almost more faithful towards the brand now. So it's a good thing Starfield came out. I think we needed that. Yeah, and for people who don't want DCS in space, they can always play Starfield. It's there.
Yeah. Starfield has done a refueling of people's interest in space games. But one of the things that was interesting was that there were a lot of people who were Star Citizen players who went to Starfield. They have enjoyed it. A lot of them have enjoyed it, but a lot of them have also, it's given them a different appreciation for Star Citizen too. You know, they enjoyed playing Starfield, but they said, wow, now there's some things that I really want to I look forward to seeing now, because I know Star Citizen is maybe doing things a little bit differently in a different way. So it's kind of had a good, you know, it definitely has helped. I don't think there's been a negative, even though people have tried to create a form of some type of competition between the two. But I think that it has worked out to both sides' advantages, to be honest with you. Because go ahead.
There was always that theoretical, you know, differences between Starfield and Star Citizen. Now we see it. It's like right in your face.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend of mine kind of chastise me because she expected that I was going to look at Starfield like, oh, this is going to be just like Star Citizen. I was like, no, I didn't. And she was like, oh, you better watch out. It's not like you think it is. I was like, I know it's not like I think it is. I know it's going to be a different thing. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me.
Yeah.
You know, and so now we see it
Yeah.
directly in our faces, and it's like, oh, it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna make people appreciate Star Citizen more.
Yeah, yeah. Paul, for you as a content creator, when you had to, would I miss something? Oh, yeah. No. When I was looking at the delayed video, you doing this. I was looking at the right video. Sorry.
No.
As a content creator, I mean, you obviously have to pay attention to the heartbeat of the community too. So, you know, as a content creator, where have you been in relation to this, as well as the, you know, this lull, the feelings of everybody? I know somebody made a comment there about even Star Citizen refunds. Let me say this before I go to the two of you, Sigelian and this, and I'll let Nomad and Fast Car talk. One of the things I learned, I remember on one of the virtual bar citizens, someone asked, it was either Disco or Xylo, about the negative comments that come from the community, you know, the people who feel a certain kind of way about it. And I learned a valuable lesson that day. One of them was that they don't feel offended by the negative comments. And now I'm not saying that, you know, when people come at them the wrong way, there's not any personal feeling. But what I'm saying is their answer was this: the reason why people are as what's the word he used? The reason why people are as, thank you, is passionate. The reason why people express frustration, the reason why people express anger, it just comes from the fact that they want to play the game. You know, it's not being angry at anybody on a personal level per se. Some people maybe it is, but he said, but in general, people just want to play the game. And so they keep that as the perspective of whether they get compliments or criticisms, that ultimately that's it. And I think that's the reason too, because first of all, I don't waste my time. If there's a game I'm not interested in, I don't go to their website or forum and post about how much I don't like this game. You know what I mean? Yeah. I move on. I find something that I do. But if it's something I care about, if I actually do care about it, then I'll express that. So I think the reality is that there's some truth there, that even the people who may not seem like they care about it, the reality of it is they do care about it because they invest enough time to come onto somebody's chat or comment or a forum and basically express certain feelings about it. So Paul, what's your vision when you've looked at comments, whether it's in your own chat channels or forum, Spectrum, whatever the case may be, as to where the community is as a content creator?
I mean, just in general, I've got a different perspective on this because some people have put me on as this great community leader and a symbol of Star Citizen. And I have been called a white knight, and I've been called a doomer and like on multiple occasions by different people. So I don't know where the hell I am at this point. But so I get some of these comments by people who are long time followers of Star Citizen who kind of dislike the way that CIG is moving from directions. So personally, I don't like those comments just because I feel like I'm getting criticized because it feels more like not that that I care that they're really commenting on Star Citizen. It's more that they're coming onto my channel and talking shit, and I'm like, dude, I'm just doing a lore video. Why are you coming on here and talking about this? And infamously, I've had one video where I had like 4 people yell at me for paying too much attention to lore and not making the game. And I'm like,
wait, what?
Wow.
Yeah,
not making the game.
I'm confused by that. I was confused by that status. It's like apparently the negative community of Star Citizen has given me the title of Chris Roberts for making the game. But the point I'm making with all of this is that I personally don't see a lot of it. It is a handful of people. And when those people get way too toxic, because they often, it's usually a countdown of when do they start going for the personal attacks and stuff like that. It always hits that point, and that's the point where I'm just like, all right, fuck off. But generally speaking, I don't see a lot of it. Most of it's positive. Most of the interactions is positive, and it's never really like the positive always outweighs the negative in the comment sections and in the community. But like, in general, I don't think the community is in a bad place negatively. I think it's just in a bad place in terms of apathy. But I also think that apathy has more to do with the fact that there's just not a lot to write home about. Like, I love the new missions, but I don't know if I'm going to, if I was an average gamer, I don't know if I would hop on because they're doing, a heist mission on Orison, or Orison platforms. Like, cool. Like, it's like maybe an hour of content. There's nothing really that hooks in. There's no like new system, no new like that sort of thing. So as a result, I think that's generally where the community is from my experience as a content creator. They're just waiting in line for Pyro. I have seen more community engagement in the last 24 hours from the fact that they added those stations to Pyro than I have seen in all since 318 was about to launch.
Yeah,
like just people have been posting it everywhere on Spectrum and on other places. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we get 7 different videos from different content creators about this fact in the next 24 hours because it's hot and people like the first people to visit the Pyro jump point and stuff like that. So and that's the thing. Like that's the where we're at. It's just we're just as the community we're just starved for content, for meaningful content, not just like you made another mission. Like if like they want bounty hunting, they want better cargo mechanics, better medical mechanics, like those sorts of things. That's what people are waiting for, or pyro if they can't get those.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right, Sigelian, I'm gonna go to you. Then we're gonna get ready to take a break. Sigelian, you're a content creator. You've got a community of folks that enjoy watching your streams, but you also are active in all the other communications that we have. What are you sensing about the community right now?
Yeah, well, we're definitely in a state of change, and Starfield, I think, was a big disruptor for the best. And we're kind of in the same state we're in every year around September. Remember that one time when they tried to sell the tickets for the virtual CitizenCon? I mean,
we bring that up once a week, don't we?
I'm sorry. I don't think it's ever going to get worse than that, though. Like, so.
Don't say never.
That was the one time. That was the one time that the entire community
rose up.
Oh, hell no.
Everyone was just like, are you insane? And then when Chris made his excuse of being like, well, BlizzCon sells tickets, everyone, and I didn't care what their perspective on the project was. They're like, Blizzard has made video games. You have not yet. Let's release a video game first, and then we'll start talking about charging for CitizenCon.
In the last decade, at least.
Yeah. You know, maybe it would be helpful to let people know, Sigelian, explain what happened, because there may be some people who weren't around back then. So tell them what it was that happened.
Like, why did they even do that? But like, there is the real life CitizenCon, and I think that you would get special gear with the real life CitizenCon, and they want to offer the gear to the virtual people as well. So they had the virtual tickets to watch. How are they gonna paywall the video feed though? Were they just gonna have the video feed on their website?
No,
So
it was a premium high definition video.
High fidelity, right?
Basically, they said that the cost of running all the equipment would be far too high, and they needed to make back money. So they were going to sell digital tickets through a special streaming service that wasn't Twitch or YouTube, and you had to pay to be able to watch it. And when that came out, everyone basically said no, and then a bunch of people said. But a bunch of people, like a lot of the content creators I saw, and even the community members, were said, well, you already do like these armor packages for people who buy the tickets. Just let people buy them. Sell them at $5-10, and people will buy them. And even I said, buy like 5 or 10 of them, and then use them as giveaways, and that will cover your cost of video production. And they went, that's smart.
They wanted to charge $20.
Yeah, they wanted to charge $20 for the video, which was just
for one person.
And so instead they sold $5 little gear packs, and that's the reason why you have those swag packs, those digital swag packs now. They didn't sell them until that happened, and then after that, it was 2017 CitizenCon too. After that, they started selling them because they realized they could sell them. They could sell a shit ton of those tiny little packs, and now we've got the bonkers $25 like swag packs, which I don't know is good. But,
it was crazy.
And let me emphasize that not only did the community say no, and me, I am a glass half full positive guy. A lot of us went, oh hell no, just with exclamation points and spelling out one like O-N-E instead of using exclamation points at the end. So yeah, it was quite people saying in a moment. So yes, we were all saying no.
I've been through YouTube, but the premium service that they paid for crashed halfway through these CitizenCon. So they had to use Twitch.
I didn't know that.
The fact that the backers actively like stopped that from happening was like aha.
Wow. Interesting.
You see, we saved you because we knew this was going to happen. You should maybe listen to us a little bit more in these kind of situations, Chris. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow.
And I know that the sentiment in the community for them being like greedy or money hungry is very strong. But honestly, like I'm always comparing CIG with my full-time company, and that this corporation is way greedier than CIG is. So I can never think CIG is this evil company because there's way more evil corporations out there, like by a lot. So, I've honestly seen opportunities for CIG to make more money, and they didn't. Like wait till real estate becomes real, and then we'll see a lot of cash grabs. Maybe we'll see.
But I think to the point, I think a lot of people, myself included, would think of CIG as a company that's trying to actively subvert a lot of the trends that you see in other games, especially like the way they treat their employees and all these sorts of things. So when you see them do things like predatory marketing practices when it comes to things like limited artificial scarcity for ships and stuff like that, it's hard to justify, and I think that's really where a lot of that, especially where a lot of that negative content comes from, is not necessarily that they're like Star Citizen is garbage. It's just that like they don't want to support CIG if they're going to be practicing some of these things. And CIG has this problem where they don't tell us why they're doing things; they just do them, and then when they get caught with their hand in the cookie jar, they tell us why they did it, and it's like, well, why didn't you just say that in the beginning?
Make it a lot easier, right?
It would have made it a lot easier, and
well, listen.
I think CIG is still in. I think they're still in startup mode though. Like, and I wonder what big grown-up corporation CIG looks like.
Oh yeah, I'm a little concerned about that.
Well, let me say this, because we're going to wrap up this hour, gang, because we got our next set of guests in. But I want to say this, and first of all, I want to say thank you to Paul and Sigelian for being here. Sigelian, if you want to stick around, I think there's room, but if you want to go, no problem. I know
I gotta go cook.
That's cool. Yeah. Let me say this real quick though. Ultimately, history is going to tell us whether or not this was all worth it in the end. You know, it's one of those things where if it's worth it, we'll be laughing about this stuff, and if it's not worth it, I don't know what we'll be doing, but we'll find out when it's all said and done. Special thank you to Nomad for being here, joining us as well. He and I are about to jump out. There's going to be a new crew of folks that are coming in. Where are we at, Fast Cart? We didn't make our mark, did we? We're at $3,920, $80 away from our next giveaway. $80. We're going to give away an RSI. What is it? The Triage, right? What's the ship called? The RSI.
The RSI Triage.
What's it called? The Apollo. The Apollo Triage. LTI, gang. $80 away. We're going to run a commercial spot. Here's the deal, because we have to transfer literally. We're going to go down for just a second. Do not leave the channel. Fast Cart is going to pick up the channel when I leave. So just stick around for a couple minutes after the commercial. You'll see us go off for a second, but we're going to come right back on, and you guys can continue to hang with us for the day. And make sure you're here, because I guarantee you, by the time we come back, somebody will have given that $80, and you will be here for that giveaway for the Apollo Triage. So once again, to our guest, Sigelian, tell people where they can find you, Sigelian.
I'm on Twitch. Join me on Twitch. Sigelian's my channel. Hang out there.
He's got the cool spelling, y'all. 2 G's, 2 L's. Paul, where can people find you?
You can find me at twitch.tv/theastropub, youtube.com/theastropub live, and of course, if you want like my lore content, youtube.com/theastrohistorian.
All right. We love these guys. They've been around for a long time. We hope that they will continue to bless us and encourage us and give us great knowledge in the world of Star Citizen.
And we'll both see you at CitizenCon.
Yes, we are going to be at CitizenCon. We're looking forward to seeing you guys there.
Look for Sigelian and his swag. Are you going to wear your swag this year as well?
Ooh, dressed in white. The man in white.
I got a cosplay outfit.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm in the costume competition, so yeah, sweet.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, next up, we've got the folks coming over from New Soul. We've got Pops, Fistaface. We've also got special guests, Citizen Her and Maiden Ariana are going to be joining us, and we'll also have DK75 from the Soul Citizens joining us as well. Nomad, thank you for getting up early, brother. Appreciate you.
Hey, no problem. Glad to be here. I'm very excited.
Infinite diversity and infinite combinations. IDIC is actually one of my names, believe it or not. I've never shared that before, but you know what that is. You know what that is. All right. So,
absolutely.
All right, FC, we're going to put it in your hands, but we're going to run this commercial spot. We'll see you guys in a little bit. I'll be back a little bit later too. Peace, love, and soul. And we'll be back. Be right back. Stick around. Don't go anywhere, gang. Do not go anywhere. Here we go.
Supposed to start.
Yeah, I got a bug here, guys. My mouse decided to freeze up. Sorry, I got to put a different.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that great of all the times, right? I should have known. But it'll only be a second. Just give me one uno momento. Unplug in.
Do you mind if I drop? Am I cool if I
No,
drop?
you can drop. You're good. Video's off. You're good.
You're good.
Thank you,
Thanks
bro.
so much for having me.
Appreciate you,
Great
man.
time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Wonderful.
07.
Hey, take care, man.
No
what want me to drag other people in?
Oh, you know
before
what?
go?
Now I know why I didn't run. Give me 1 second. Yeah, Fast Cards, you can start setting up when you're in, please.
Yeah, I am.
I'll head out as well.
I'll drag people in.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you, man.
People in pre-show queue are about to come in. People in pre-show queue are about to come in.
Do you know any jokes?
Which side of the horse has the most hair?
I don't know.
The outside.
Hello, mate.
Jordan smile.
Audio's live, guys, so stand by. Stand by, guys. Live is audio's
There's a
live.
lot behind that smile. It's warming and it's inviting, and it says, "Hey, I'm still a kid." Jordan was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia December 1st of 2014. It was almost as if someone had just came up and just snatched all of the breath out of me. I had so many questions. Where did this come from? How did it just blindside us? Was it lying dormant? But immediately my mind went to, will she survive this? And we were met with warmness as soon as we walked through the door. And so instantly I felt that I wasn't alone when I got here. It's like I had an extended family. The level of care here at St. Jude is mind-blowing because it's like, wow. She's been in remission a year now, but we're still fighting. And so some days she's good, some days it's like, But her smile, no matter how she's feeling, she'll have that smile.
Where do pencils go on vacation?
I don't know.
Pennsylvania. That was funny.
St. Jude took care of everything. I didn't have to worry about paying for anything. I don't have enough words in my heart to say thank you because it saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family. That's why these doctors are here. That's why this staff is here to help cure cancer.
Okay, gang, we're going to switch over. We will be right back, so stand by. FC, you ready?
Yeah, we can do it. I just want to let people on YouTube know you may get a new link. Hopefully, I can do it fast enough that it doesn't quit. But just if it does happen, just go to the Soul Citizens YouTube page and go to the next stream.
Yep, you might have to refresh. Okay, here we go.